Bangladesh launches campaign for the elections being held fair since 2024 pricing to elect 350 lawmakers on February 12th. And Netherlands beat Nepal by 2 runs in thrilling T20 World Cup qualifiers clash. Men's cricket team also suffers defeat against Sri Lanka A. Hello there, I'm Smita Gising Tamang and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo, just after midnight in Sydney. The news in detail. The Election Commission has cancelled the candidacy of Resham Chaudhary, who had filed his nomination from Kailali constituency number 1, representing the Nagarik Unmukti Party. The Commission took the decision after investigating a complaint filed against Chaudhary's candidacy, concluding that his nomination was invalid. Complaints had earlier been lodged against the candidacies of 5 individuals. According to the election schedule, candidates are allowed to withdraw their nominations tomorrow between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The final list of candidates is scheduled to be published on the same day between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Election symbols will be allocated on tomorrow itself. The House of Representatives election is scheduled to be held on March 5. Based on information received from the offices of 77 chief election officers and 88 election officers nationwide, a total of 3,487 candidacies have been registered. Of them, 3,089 are men, 396 are women, and 1 candidate is from the 3rd gender category. Youth participation is emerging as a defining feature of Nepal's March 5 House of Representatives election, both in candidacy and voter engagement, as the Election Commission (EC) intensifies digital monitoring to prevent misuse of online platforms. New data released by the EC shows a noticeable rise in younger candidates. Of the total nominees, 16.73% are aged 25 to 35, 46.43% fall within the 36 to 50 age group, 31.29% are aged 51 to 65, and 5.77% are above 65. The figures reflect strong middle-age representation alongside a significant presence of young contenders. Election officials say increasing political awareness among youths is also evident in voter registration trends, with more young citizens enrolling to vote and engaging in civic processes. Digital and social media platforms have played a central role in this shift, enabling rapid and low-cost dissemination of election information and expanding political discussion. However, the Commission has raised concerns that the growing reliance on digital tools also increases the risk of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech influencing the electoral process. The deadline of the investigation commission formed by the government to probe the damages occurred during the September 8 and 9 Genset movement has been extended by 20 days. A meeting of the Council of Ministers today took a decision to this effect, as confirmed by Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal. The commission was formed by the cabinet decision on September 21, 2025 under the chair of former Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki. It comprises former Additional Inspector General of Police AIGP Bigyan Raj Sharma and legal expert Visheshwar Bandari as members. The term of the commission has been extended again for the 2nd time at the proposal of the Home Ministry, as preparation of the report was underway, though the 3-month deadline was given to the commission in the beginning. The term of the commission was terminating today itself. The government has decided to accept grant assistance of $2 million of the Asian Infrastructure Development Investment Bank for the Butwal Pokhara section upgrading project. Similarly, Home Minister Aryal has been appointed as a government's spokesperson. Other decisions of the meeting would be made public in regular press meet. Time for a short break now. We shall be back with more updates. To stay tuned. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to Primetime News. Nepal and India have signed a Memorandum of Understanding MOU to exchange pre-arrival information on exported goods. The MOU cooperation in the exchange of pre-arrival information of the export of goods for trade facilitation and customs control was signed at a formal ceremony in New Delhi on Wednesday. Nepal's Director General of the Department of Customs, Shyam Prasad Bhandari, and India's Chairperson of the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs CBIC, Vivek Chaturvedi, signed the agreement on behalf of their respective sites. The exchange of advanced export data between major trading partners is an established international practice intended to support risk management, reduce clearance time, and ensure secure cross-border trade. As India is Nepal's principal trading partner, the agreement seeks to institutionalize the advanced sharing of export-related data between the two customs administrations. Exports via the Birganj border point along the Nepal-India frontier increased by 52% in the first 6 months of the current fiscal year compared to the same period last year. Goods and commodities worth 48.1 billion rupees, approximately $360 million were exported during the review period, marking an increase of around $123 million from the corresponding period of the previous fiscal year. According to the Birganj Customs Office, major export items included processed soybean oil worth about $191 million, fruit juice worth around $26 million, and processed sunflower oil worth around $27 million. Meanwhile, the Meiji Customs Office reported a rise in imports of petroleum products. Information Officer and Customs Officer Ishwar Kumar Humagai says petroleum imports increased by 5.60% compared to the same period of the previous fiscal year 2024-25. As modern water supply systems expand into Nepal's rural areas, traditional water storage practices are rapidly disappearing. However, residents of Khairikot in Harinas rural municipality of Western district of Siangcha are reviving an age-old solution by restoring and reusing traditional earthen water jars known as kaitos. The village of 108 households has long struggled with chronic water shortages, relying almost entirely on rainwater harvested and stored in large handmade earthen jars. Following the transition to federalism, the local government introduced lifting technology, supplying piped water directly to households. While the new system eased water scarcity, it rendered traditional storage practices obsolete. Contrary to expectations that residents would adopt plastic tanks, the community chose to rehabilitate the old kaitos, citing their durability, cost-effectiveness, and natural cooling properties. Local residents have launched a community-led campaign to treat and repurpose the jars as primary storage units for piped water. Campaigners say the initiative reduces environmental waste while preserving indigenous knowledge. Officials said the initiative serves as a model for other rural districts seeking low-cost and environmentally friendly infrastructure solutions. Time again for a short break. At the other side of the break, we shall see you back with international updates. US President Donald Trump kicks off his new Board of Peace in Davos, Switzerland, with leaders and officials from 19 countries putting their names to the founding charter, including Trump allies from Argentina and Hungary. Trump said the body will work in conjunction with the United Nations, adding the UN has not used its potential.
This board is completely formed. We can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations. You know, I've always said the United Nations has got tremendous potential, has not used it, but this board has the chance to be one of the most consequential bodies ever created, and it's my enormous honor to serve as its chairman. I was very honored when they asked me to do it. We had every one of them is a friend of mine. A couple, let's see, a couple I like, a couple I don't like. No, I like, actually, this group, I like every single one of them. Can you believe it? Usually I have about 2 or 3 that I can't stand.
Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to meet U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff for talks, the Kremlin said on Wednesday, amid renewed diplomatic efforts by Washington to help bring an end to the nearly 4-year-long war in Ukraine. The meeting comes as the United States steps up engagement with Moscow, seeking to explore possible pathways towards de-escalation and a negotiated settlement to the conflict, which began in February 2022 and has since had far-reaching geopolitical and humanitarian consequences. While details of the agenda and timing of the talks have not been disclosed, the Kremlin confirmed that discussions would focus on issues related to the Ukraine war. U.S. officials have said the visit reflects Washington's intent to maintain dialogue as part of broader efforts to stabilize the region and reduce the risk of further escalation. The talks mark one of the latest high-level contacts between the two sides at a time when relations between Moscow and Washington remain deeply strained. Bangladesh began official campaigning today for hugely anticipated general elections next month, the first since the 2024 uprising ended the rule of Sheikh Hasina. Tens of thousands of flag-waving supporters of key frontrunner Tariq Rahman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP crowded the streets of the northern city of Sylhet, chanting his name. The largest Islamist party, Jamaat-e-Islami, is also beginning its campaign in the capital Dhaka. The South Asian nation of 170 million votes on February 12 to elect 350 lawmakers. The polls are expected to usher in new leadership after prolonged turmoil following the ouster of Hasina's government, reshaping domestic politics and regional dynamics. It comes against the backdrop of insecurity, including the murder last month of a student leader of the anti-Hasina protests, as well as warnings of a flood of online disinformation. European Union election observers say the vote will be the biggest democratic process of 2026. Japan has suspended operations at the world's largest nuclear power plant hours after its restart, its operator has said. An alarm sounded during reactor start-up procedures at Kashiwazaki Kariwa in Tokyo, but the reactor remained stable, Tokyo Electric Power Company TEPCO spokesperson Takashi Kobayashi said. Reactor number 6 restarted on Wednesday a day later than planned due to an alarm malfunction, the first of the plant to be turned on since the 2011 Fukushima disaster. Japan shut down all of its 54 reactors after a 9.0 magnitude earthquake triggered a meltdown at its Fukushima plant 15 years ago, causing one of the worst nuclear disasters in the history. At the time, radiation leakage from the plant forced more than 150,000 people to evacuate their homes. Many have not returned despite assurances it is now safe. 2 people have died and several are feared buried after landslides in New Zealand's North Island. The deaths were reported at Welcome Bay, while rescue workers are still searching through rubble at a different site in a popular campground on Mount Maunganui. There are no signs of life, authorities said, adding that they have a rough idea of how many people are missing but are waiting for an exact figure. They provided no other details except that the group includes at least one young girl. The landslides were triggered by heavy rains over the last few days, which led to flooding and power outages across the North Island. One minister said the east coast resembled a war zone. The extinct volcano is a sacred Maori site and one of the most popular campgrounds in New Zealand, with a local holiday website describing it as a slice of paradise. However, it has been repeatedly hit by landslides in recent years. December to February are typically the sunnier months in New Zealand, but in recent years, heavy rains and storms have become more frequent. Time for a breather now. While coming back, we shall be back with more from International Front. Indonesian authorities have intercepted an illegal shipment of birds bound for the island of Bali, seizing more than 7,000 birds in what officials are calling one of the largest wildlife trafficking busts in recent years. The shipment contained several protected and endemic species, including the Sangihe white-eye and the Sangihe sunbird, both of which are native to the Sangihe Islands in eastern Indonesia and are considered vulnerable due to habitat loss and poaching. Authorities said the birds were being transported in cramped and inhumane conditions, raising concerns about animal welfare and the potential spread of disease. The seizure highlights the ongoing problem of illegal wildlife trafficking in Indonesia, which has become a hotspot for the trade of rare and protected species. Conservationists hailed the operation as a critical step in protecting Indonesia's unique biodiversity, noting that illegal trade remains one of the greatest threats to many of the country's endemic species. This incident comes amid growing international tension on wildlife trafficking in Southeast Asia as countries work to strengthen law enforcement and cross-border cooperation to combat the illegal wildlife trade. U.S. astronaut Zena Cartman says NASA made all the right decisions after the 4 members of the Crew 11 returned to Earth early from the International Space Station due to a medical issue that the space agency hasn't disclosed. Cartman, during a news conference at NASA's Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center in Houston, also said they are not going to identify the crew member or talking through the differential or any of the details of the medical situation. Humanoid robots are rapidly expanding into a growing range of applications in China, paving new paths for industrial growth and energizing high-tech manufacturing. According to data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Monday, in 2025, value-added output from high-tech manufacturing now accounts for 17.1% of total output from industrial enterprises above the designated size, which requires an annual main business revenue of about $2.84 million US. Specifically, production of industrial robots surged 28% year-on-year, marking the momentum of the emerging industry. At Beijing's first robot Forest store, more than 35 models of humanoid robots are currently on sale, covering a wide range of functions. The store features demonstration areas such as simulated pharmacies and industrial assembly lines, allowing robots to showcase how they perform in different real-world settings. Beyond manufacturing, robots are increasingly being deployed in energy inspection, emergency response, and commercial services. The Zihad Museum in Herat, which commemorates the victory of Afghan fighters against the Soviet occupation, has undergone visible changes since the Taliban returned to power. Plaster figurines that once portrayed scenes of civilian suffering and armed resistance against Soviet forces have been altered, leaving behind flat, featureless surfaces without mouths, noses or eyes. The changes reflect the Taliban's strict interpretation of Islamic law, under which depictions of living beings are prohibited. Since seizing power for a second time in 2021, the Taliban authorities have enforced these rules across cultural and public spaces, leading to the removal or defacement of statues, murals, and artworks depicting humans and animals. Museum officials say the alterations were carried out to ensure compliance with government directives while still preserving the historical narrative of the anti-Soviet jihad. The transformation of the Herat Museum underscores broader shifts in Afghanistan's cultural landscape under Taliban rule, as artistic expression and historical representation continue to be reshaped by religious restrictions. Time now for Sports Update. The Netherlands defeated Nepal by a narrow margin of 2 runs in the 9th match of the Women's T20 World Cup qualifier in a closely contested encounter today. Batting first after winning the toss, the Netherlands posted 140 for 5 in their 20 overs at the match played at the TU International Cricket Ground, Kirtipur in Kathmandu. The innings saw early jitters as Phoebe Molkenboer was dismissed for a duck in the opening over. Heather Seegers contributed 13 of 5 balls before falling to Pooja Mahato. The Dutch innings stabilized through captain Babette de Leede, who scored 49 of 47 deliveries, combining with Ster Kalis's 30 to rebuild after early losses. Robin Ridgekay remained unbeaten on 90 and Iris Swilling's quick 14 of 9 balls helped the team reach a competitive total. Rubina Chetri picked 2 wickets for Nepal, while Pooja Mahato, Somo Bista and Riya Sharma chipped in with a wicket. Chasing 141, Nepal started shakily, losing Bindu Rawal to a run out in the 4th over and Samjana Kharka shortly after, leaving them 35 for 2. Nepal earlier lost to Thailand by 8 wickets in the tournament opener. Italy has inaugurated a new World Anti-Doping Agency WADA-approved laboratory, ensuring enhanced testing capability just in time for the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. The facility, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, will play a key role in safeguarding fair competition by detecting prohibited substances among athletes. Officials say the lab will significantly increase Italy's capacity for rapid and accurate anti-doping analysis, supporting both domestic athletes and international competitors participating in the Games. WADA approval confirms that the facility meets stringent global standards for testing and reporting, ensuring credibility and compliance with international anti-doping regulations. The opening comes as part of broader preparations for the Winter Olympics, emphasizing Italy's commitment to clean sport and athlete safety. Authorities have highlighted that the lab will not only serve the Olympics but also strengthen anti-doping efforts across national sporting events in the years to come. This development underscores the growing emphasis on integrity in sport as host nations face increasing scrutiny to ensure that major international competitions are free from doping violations. And before we wind up, let's take a look at the headlines one more time. Election Commission announced candidacy of Resham Chaudhary. Window to withdraw candidacy is tomorrow as finalist nears publication. Government extends deadline of Gen Z Movement Incident Prop Commission by 20 days, appoints Home Minister Arial as spokesperson. Costumes of Nepal and India sign MOU to exchange for pre-arrival information of goods, deal expected to make bilateral trade more secure. World leaders joined Trump signing Board of Peace Charter in Davos, says the board to work in conjunction with UN. Bangladesh launches campaign for the elections being held first since 2024 pricing to elect 350 lawmakers on February 12. And the Netherlands beats Nepal by 2 runs in thrilling T20 World Cup qualifiers clash. Men's cricket team also suffers defeat against Sri Lanka A. That's all for the moment here on NTV World Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. Do join us through our social media and get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Smithu Gizing Thamang. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World. Facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by.
Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
45 minutes flight across 214 kilometers, we landed at the Simikot airport. It was a great relief to land in Simikot for us, who had spent a few days in hot Nepalganj. The cool breeze welcomed us to our great expectations. According to locals, Simikot got its name with the combination of Simi and Kot. Indeed, it is the combination of Sim meaning wetland and Kot meaning green meadow. Simikot is a major point for pilgrims traveling to Mount Kailas and Mansarovar in Tibet via Hilsa. This is the easiest way to the Mansarovar, and thus many Indian pilgrims are seen here.
मेन त यो हुम्ला सिमीकोट चाहिँ तपाईको अब भनौं न अब कैलाश मानसरोवरकै गेटवे भएकोले एउटा यहाँ आउने भयो। अब हामीलाई पनि अब भनौं न तपाईको हुम्ला सिमीकोट चाहिँ अब तपाईको यो सदरमुकाम हो, मेन ल्यान्डिङ पोइन्ट हो हैन। अब यहाँबाट तपाईको पर्यटकहरुलाई जस्तै हाम्रो यहाँ रलिङ गुम्बाहरु छ, खारबुनाथ मन्दिरहरु छ हैन। अब जस्तै यहाँ तपाईको एकदम के भन्छ प्राकृतिक सुन्दरताहरु हेर्ने ठाउँहरु थुप्रै छ। किनभने हामीले त्यो ठाउँहरुलाई चाहिँ फोकस गर्न नसकेर बाहिर ल्याउन नसकेर मात्र हो। अब ल्याउन सक्यो भने पर्यटनहरु आवश्यक नै बढी मात्रामा बढ्छ भन्ने आशा छ।
We arrived Simikot with a throng of travelers to Humla, comprising some domestic and foreign tourists. Soon our team became a cozy group of travelers. We traveled together to Limi of Namkha, among the 7 rural municipalities of the district: Simikot, Namkha, Kharpunath, Chankheli, Sarkegard, Adnacholi and Tanjakot. The jeep ride in the gravelled road is some kind of experience in this majestic terrain. However, we were disturbed by the landslides at various places of the rural road and left to travel on foot. We arrived at Chaudan Foya after a few hours of walk, but our overnight stay was still a few hours trek to Dharapuri. We stopped at many places on our way just to capture the natural beauty of the place and feel the magic in the air. These hills and the spontaneous Karnali river kept inspiring us. And on the way we see many stories of hope, determination and struggle of the locals. It was almost dusk, but our destination was still at some distance. So we increased our pace along with the local children accompanying us. We are thankful to these kids, without whom we would not have been able to know some of the very well-known places on the way. Almost 8:30 in the evening, we were still struggling to find the house where we were supposed to spend the night. Now our team was no more intact, as all had their own arrangements in small groups. We had no option but to find a place to rest for the night. We were overwhelmed by the humility and warmth of the local people. They offered a bunch of unknown travelers food and accommodation with open heart. This reminded us of the slogan, "Guest is God," in real terms. Not the most affluent of the societies, but very welcoming at heart. In need, but have the humility. Poverty-ridden, but full of humanity. We salute the rural folks who mess around the year in this inhospitable terrain for survival. The next morning, we all get together. Our next destination was Kermi. The whistling sound of Karali flowing down somewhere, the rocky hills and the small trails like ropes attached in these hills. Risky and dangerous. Not the best of conditions for trekking, but that's where the thrill is. That's where the adventure is. The waterfalls and ponds on the way relieve us from our fatigue instantly. Chachara is one of the biggest waterfalls in this place. The soothing touch of the crystal clear water of the fall is refreshing. Our lunch was at Dade Kermi, where small tents were set up by the locals to serve food and some rest for travelers. The Chinese stoves used here are smokeless and must have eased the life of the rural folks to a larger extent. We had seen these types of stoves in Dharapuri as well. Before starting another long day of trek after lunch, we had a little rest here. Our journey to Limi is still a long way to finish. We also did not get any chance of hitchhiking as no vehicle was plying on the road due to landslide obstructions. Our journey was getting arduous by the hour, but we did not miss the chance to enjoy the natural wonder of the region. Agriculture and cattle are the main profession of the people here. People raise yaks in this rugged terrain, though they have to migrate in winter to find better grazing land locally called kharka for their prized possessions. We found herds of yaks at different places on the way. We even stopped at one of these grazing camps for a cup of tea. This place is called lashing. The tea served here is special with ghee and salt added for extra energy in the cold temperature. No wonder some of us were enjoying this tea for the first time. To our great relief, we got the news that a goods-laden truck was heading towards Limi from Tibet or China. However, we still had some distance to cover to catch the truck. We all wanted to rush with the hope to reach there in time to get a lift. At the moment, we are at Chanso, where there is not enough place for our jumbo team to spend the night. Finally, we decided to spend the night in Chanso itself, as the way ahead was more difficult and riskier. Two families had set up their yak camps here and living in 2 tents. Our big team had to divide and accommodate in these 2 tents for the night. We squeezed in for the night anyhow. It's a beautiful morning with bright blue sky, surrounded by tall hills, waterfalls and the whistling Karnali. It was nothing less than a piece of heaven on earth. We mingled with the locals for some times.
गाह्रै छ पानी पनि यहाँ समस्या छ दाउरो पनि समस्या छ यहाँ गाह्रै छ गाह्रो त यस पुल पनि समस्या छ यहाँ नराम्रो ठाउँमा बसेको छ यहाँ यस चिसो ठाउँमा यस्तो समस्या छ
यहाँ हामीसँग धेरै चुनौतीहरू पनि छ जस्तै एक्सेसको कुरा गर्ने हो भने रोड राम्रो बनिसकेको छैन अनि त्यसपछि तपाईको सञ्चारहरू छैन बाटोमा टी शपहरू छैन त्यसपछि त्यही अनुसार जस्तै टुरिज्म व्यवसायको लागि चाहिएको तपाईको के भन्छ यो के रे ह्युमन रिसोर्सहरू पनि राम्रोसँग दक्ष छैन हैन
We had to climb up to the altitude of 4,800 meters to reach Limi. We decided to travel on horses as we were too tired to walk now. We managed horses for our team and set out on our way. We stopped at a beautiful natural pond, locally known as Selima. No one has dared to measure the depth of this pond till date. No one is aware of the mathematics of this ancient natural lake. We also moved ahead with the enthusiasm as to why. No one knows it. 2 hours on the horseback, we arrive at Nyalul Langna at an altitude of 4,800 meters above sea level. Surrounded by white mountains and hills, we found 2 Chinese trucks ready to leave for Limi. It took some effort to climb onto these huge carriers. Around 100 people had boarded on each truck. The local people were also waiting for the truck to depart like we were. The gravelled road and overloaded trucks. The ride was not very comfortable, but we did not have much option either to move ahead. After around 5 hours rough ride, we arrived at Halji village of Limi. Three villages, Tili, Halji and Jang, were collectively called Limi. It was almost evening by the time we reached Halji. The sight of Karnali snaking between the hills, symmetrical houses, green meadows, and the hearty welcome of the locals relieved of our fatigue. Cattle, farming and trade were the main profession of the Denizens of Halji. Yak, growing uwa, a special grain used in making liquor, and traveling to and from Taklakot via Hilsa for trade is part of their life for the locals. Despite the beauty of this magical land, it's far away from tourism. Hardly 50 tourists from outside set their foot on this area every year. The millennium-old Halji monastery, built by Locha Warinche Samo, is the pride of this place. Monk Samo had built this monastery as the last of his 108 structures around the world. Monk Samo is believed to have died while constructing this monastery. The ancient heritage, at the risk of landslide, awaits preservation and promotion.
दायाँको त्यहाँ पहिरोको डर छ यहाँ हैन त्यहाँ बायाँको त्यही डोरीको दुख छ प्रत्येक ढुङ्गाको धेरै दुख छ बिचमा खानु पाउनको पेटको दुख छ यहाँ धेरै आवश्यक छ के छ यहाँ गुम्बा विधानमा त्यही सबै ती पुरानो लिङ्ग मूर्तिकुटी माटोमा लिगेर ती बिग्री जान्छ
We had the opportunity to see the local culture and lifestyle during our trek in Limi. What impressed us the most was the dress, including local bakhu, sonba, chino and quinoa bread. Mount Kailas and the Man Sarovar in China are clearly visible from Lapcha of Limi. 7 to 8 hours of truck ride from Halji, we can reach there. We were very much eager to see the Mansarovar and Mount Kailas, so we went to Limi. But to our bad luck, the weather did not help us. We waited for some time for the weather to clear, but there was no sign whatsoever, and we returned disappointed. Had the weather been kind, this was the sight we would have been able to see. Our journey to Limi thus ended on a sad note. We head back to Simikot and Nepalganj and finally to Kathmandu. Back in Kathmandu, every scene and sight we saw on the way is coming back in flashback. Being in this place itself is a treat to the eyes and mind. You forget all the fatigue and physical pain once you reach in this oasis. Undoubtedly, Humla, bordering Mugu, Bajura, Bazan and China towards the north, is a piece of heaven on earth.
Vaccination has played a critical role in reducing preventable diseases and saving millions of lives worldwide. Yet, globally, millions of children still miss out on routine immunization, leaving communities vulnerable to outbreaks. South Asia has recently shown remarkable progress, and Nepal stands out as a country that has not only recovered from pandemic disruptions but achieved global vaccine targets ahead of schedule. On today's episode of Insight, we are joined by Dr. Abhiyan Gautam, who is the Chief of Child Health and Immunization Service Section, to discuss global immunization trends, Nepal's public health achievements, and what can countries do to achieve universal vaccination. Dr. Gautam, welcome to NTV World Insight.
Thank you.
To start with, what kind of vaccines are we using to immunize our children, and how do you prioritize or decide what kind of vaccines to give to children?
We have started with 4 antigen from 3 districts in the country back in 2034 BS, that is 1977, and gradually we have scaled it up to 77 districts, and now we are providing against 14 antigens, and we are providing 11 vaccines against vaccine preventable disease, and is totally free of cost, as we have included that in our constitution that basic health services are free of cost, and immunization is also basic health services, and that is totally free of cost, and the vaccine is of quality because we have Immunization Act, and as per the Immunization Act we only use WHO pre-qualified vaccine, that is WHO accepted vaccine, and that vaccine that Nepal is currently introducing should be registered in Department of Drug Administration, that is National Regulatory Authority for Nepal, and that means the vaccine that Nepal is using through National Immunization Program is safe, efficacious, and of quality.
Mm-hmm. Are the vaccines used in lower and middle income nations different from others, or are the safety and protocol and standards are similar everywhere?
It might differ in other countries, but in Nepal, as I said, we have Act, and which has enabled us to introduce quality vaccines, and that is WHO pre-qualified. WHO has regulation system, their own regulation system, and the country has its own regulation system as well. Each country has its own regulation system. Our country does not accept other vaccines other than WHO pre-qualified. That means the quality, the vaccine that is being used in Nepal, that is being introduced in Nepal, is of good quality, but other country might lag those regulatory system in low and middle income country. So I can say about the other country, but the basic principle in other country are also the same. Most of the country in the SARE region, that is our neighboring countries, are also following the same system.
Mm-hmm. A recent WHO and UNICEF data shows that 89% of infants received at least one DTP vaccine in 2024. However, 14.3 million zero-dose children remain unvaccinated, and coverage still trails key global targets. Where do you see the challenges, and how do we cope with this?
There are some challenges in some pocket area around the globe. There are some religious minority, there are some hard-to-reach area and high-risk areas around the globe, and not only that, after COVID-19, many of the services were interrupted all around the globe because of lockdown and because of service interruptions. Maybe because of that, and there are some national disparities inside the country, and there are financial challenges in the country as well, and the question of sustainability has raised in other countries, and that has actually led to zero dose and dropout.
Mm-hmm. So when we talk about resources, how does Nepal government prioritize budget allocation for immunization campaigns?
Yeah, as I said, immunization is mandated by constitution, as it has written that it is basic health services are free of cost, and it is priority 1 program of Nepal, and Ministry of Health and Population has always prioritized vaccination as its first agenda. And that is why there is high level of political commitment, as well as there is high level of financial commitment in terms of Nepal. So I don't think there is challenge in introducing a vaccine, and also along with the high commitment, high political and financial commitment from Ministry of Health and Population, we also are a Gavi eligible country, that is Global Alliance of Vaccine and Immunization is the alliance who actually support low and middle income country to introduce new vaccine. And there are now 53 countries, such countries along with Nepal, and we are in preparatory transition phase. They actually categorize country based on gross national income, and Nepal is eligible according to our gross national income. So while introducing such vaccines, that is new and underutilized vaccine, Gavi support us financially, and not only financial, they also provide us with procuring vaccines and ancillary items as well. For example, cold chain equipments and other support. And they also support with the operational cost as well. And that is why Nepal has been able to conduct recent campaigns. For example, measles rubella, inactivated polio vaccination campaign, and most awaited HPV vaccination campaign all across the country.
What other alliances are we part of, and how is the collaboration benefiting the country?
Yeah, Gavi was supporting Nepal since 2001, and it's now we are about to celebrate Silver Jubilee as well. And along with that, WHO and UNICEF are our core partner, and recently new partner like WaterAid, Japaigo, GIZ has come up with different packages to support immunization program of Nepal.
There are skepticism about the quality and standards, especially for a country like Nepal. What do you say about it? How do we build trust, or is there something to be concerned at all about?
Yeah, we have to inform the public. We have to inform with what vaccines we are providing and what's the quality of that vaccines. And we have been saying the same thing, that is, as per the Act, we always quote the things that this is WHO pre-qualified and it's of good quality, but people are reluctant because they think that whenever we receive vaccine, that is definitely is going to be trial. We are going to be trial. They think in that way, but what we are saying from the program is, yeah, of course, the people has to do trial. The manufacturer has to do trial, and that trial has to be conducted in other country, not in Nepal. And once trial is completed, WHO has to go through all the processes, and after vigorous processes, after checking everything, WHO pre-qualified it, and pre-qualified vaccine are only utilized in Nepal. And we have been saying it time and again. And whenever there is campaign, big campaign, for example, HPV campaign last year, we did that, and there were a lot of rumor regarding the vaccine. The vaccine. The common rumor was the vaccine caused infertility, and the vaccine is on trial. And we said that the vaccine was already introduced in 145 countries, and we were the one who introduced vaccine for the first time, and we were 146th country. And that means other countries have already utilized, they have experienced the quality, efficacy and safety of the vaccine. And Nepal has recently introduced the vaccines, and there was some question regarding the trust issue. And as you said, so we try to debunk the masses. We try to give correct messages, and all the stakeholders, including celebrities, sportsmen, they all jointly came up to convey the message that the vaccine that Nepal is providing is of good quality, and all the adolescents should receive that vaccine. The voice was, we got same voices from all the celebrities and all the politicians and stakeholders, not only the national but also the international celebrities were with us during the campaign, and that is how we are doing every day.
So rest assured, the public can be confident that Nepal government takes vaccines quality seriously, and that they can, without any doubt, immunize their children.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is it true that South Asia has recently recorded one of the highest improvements in immunization coverage worldwide? And if it is, what factors has driven this regional success?
Yes, Southeast Asia, actually we are under SEER, Southeast Asian Regional Office, and there are 10 countries and who actually are that's a group, that's a regional office who actually govern all the WHO office of the country. Nepal has also the same system, and they set a goal, they set a resolution for the country, and the resolution was to decrease zero dose, to decrease underimmunized children in the community. And we also put our views, and we actually aligned to we work jointly to reduce the zero dose underimmunized children. In terms of Nepal, we have a program called Full Immunized Integration Initiative. That means all child should receive all the antigen that is provided by country, and that is also mandated by Act as well. All the beneficiaries, all the guardian, all the parents should ensure that child should receive all the eligible vaccine that government provide. That is as per the Act, and that is right actually. The program is not a program. The nationalization program is not a not only a program, but it's a right of the children. So that is mandated by Act, and we have been working for that. The full immunization declaration is an initiative which actually start from household. Female community health volunteer, she goes to each and every household to ensure the eligible children are vaccinated or not. And after verification, after checking the vaccination card, she ensures that the child is fully immunized. If not, she refer the child to the health facility. And these activities are being conducted throughout across the country, and starting from the household. Then if all the household of ward are found to be fully immunized, they celebrate it as a fully immunization ward. Similarly, if all wards within a same municipality are fully immunized, then they celebrate it as a fully immunization municipality, then district, then province, then nation. And this was the first time, in the last fiscal year, it was the first time where we declared Nepal as a fully immunization country, and it was the first time in history since we started this campaign, that is full immunization initiative campaign, and it was started in 2012. Other country also, there are many initiatives. There are initiative called Big Catch Up program, where Gavi also support with the vaccines, support with the programs, activities, and WHO also support, UNICEF also support countries who actually are willing to provide vaccines to their beneficiaries. And Nepal had started immediately after COVID-19, and so we actually initiated multiple events. For example, we actually integrate our program, immunization program, with other public health intervention. For example, vitamin A initiative, vitamin A campaign. And whenever we get opportunity, in every opportunity, we integrated routine immunization program, the screening of routine immunization starters, and then we actually achieved the target. And other country has also initiated on the same manner and same pattern. And that is how Zero country has Southeast Asia has actually led in the immunization.
Nepal's female volunteer group was also awarded by World Health Organization. How significant is the award, and does it serve as a model for other countries as well?
Yeah, I think they are totally volunteer. The female community health volunteers are they are the pillar of our public health interventions. Whatever we develop policy at the central level that should be implemented at the community level, and they are the pillar of their community. They represent, they are the linkage, they are the bridge between health, Ministry of Health, and community and the family. And whenever we develop a message, they convey our message to the beneficiary. And they have been working in our community since for more than 35 years now. And this was the first time where we gather all the evidences, and we gather the transformative change that they have made in the community, and we submitted our report to the Zero. There was a competition between the Zero countries, and we won the competition. And based on the evidences that they have decreased the mortality, morbidity, the Zero has nominated or appointed them as a champion of public health award.
May I ask how much the Nepal government has been investing in immunization programs, and what are the future plans?
Every year, as I said, we are Gavi supported country. Every year, Gavi contribute around 60% of the total budget, and Nepal has invested more than 2 orb every year.
2 billion.
2 billion, sorry, yeah. 2
that
billion.
is barring the 60% that Gavi covers.
That includes 60%, yeah.
Okay, so 60% of 2 billion rupees or dollars?
Rupees.
Rupees is covered by Gavi. The rest is by Nepal government. There are certain vaccines that people need to buy out of pocket. Do you think this makes vaccines an item of luxury rather than basic health necessity?
Whatever the vaccine that is provided by National Nation program is totally free of cost. And we don't, even during COVID-19, though the vaccine was very costly, government of Nepal receive vaccine from donation, whatever the region, whatever the, when it is being delivered to the public need not pay any of the main money. It's totally free of cost, and it is of good quality, as I said before. And the vaccine that is available in the market is being transported or delivered from the private companies, and they charge some money for the vaccines, and the government supplied vaccines are totally free of cost. And as you said, the questions of equity always, so we are also raising the same point, and they has to bear some, multiple steps. They have to go through a custom clearance, and they have to procure from. Nepal is not a vaccine manufacturing country, and they have to, they have to receive the vaccine from abroad, maybe from European countries or maybe from American countries, or from our neighboring country, and they have to invest a lot to bring the vaccine in Nepal, and that is how it is costly in the private market. And we are providing, the government of Nepal is providing the vaccine of good quality. I can guarantee you that we are providing vaccines of good quality, more quality of the vaccine that is being delivered through the private hospitals or private company.
Do you think Nepal has the experience and resources to invest and innovate vaccine and produce vaccines of its own in future?
Now, yeah, in future, of course, we have the possibility, but so we have to have manufacturing company in Nepal, but we don't have such company as of now. And I have not seen any preparations from any of the company, not even private or not from the government side. And along with that, our National Regulatory Authority has to be a level 3, and now currently we are of level 1, that is WHO accredited level 1, and we have to increase our quality as well. We have to increase our capacity as well, and we don't have that capacity as of now. So in future, of course, we can see that there is high demand also, there is high need in Nepal, and we have to manufacture in the long run.
Could you briefly explain what WHO accreditation is?
WHO has to validate. There are multiple steps. There are multiple checklists of WHO to verify whether the government is capable to say the manufacturer is manufacturer is producing good vaccines or not. They have to focus on the safety of the vaccine. They have to focus on the quality of the vaccine and efficacy of the vaccine. And country has to be able to, rectify all the things, all the steps of vaccine manufacturing country. And that is how they label the regulatory authority as level 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 has the authority who has of best quality will get level 4, and now we are at level 1.
Level 1.
Yeah.
That's a long road ahead.
That's actually. And the people in the regulatory authority are also trying to improve their quality as well.
We spoke about the achievements that South Asian region has made, but the region also faces still population density, migration and hard-to-reach communities. How do you think countries can collaborate to close these gaps?
South Asian country can close immunization gap by working collaboratively by sharing data. And CERO actually, CERO is the one who is leading in the public health program in this globe, in this part of the country, and they have been calling the government stakeholders or government decision makers to share data, and also they are also collaborating for the cold chain improvements. And there is an initiative for cross-border meetings. We are sharing boarding with Nepal and India and China, and there are frequent meetings going on with the India now, and I think we have to increase that campaign as well. That is, cross-border campaigns should be increased, and we have to harmonize schedule. There are multiple vaccination schedules in Nepal and India, and those who are migrating, those who are working here in Nepal are traveling to India, and people from India are also coming here. For travelers, I think there should be a immunization schedule, that is harmonizing the schedule between the countries, and we have to exchange the best practices of the countries. Nepal has a good initiative of Immunization Act, and we are selling that. Actually, people are learning, other countries are also learning from Nepal that they have to develop Immunization Act, and they have actually started. And Bangladesh is the one who has actually started after learning from Nepal. And we have an initiative called Full Immunization Initiative, as I said, and they are also learning. People from all around the globe are actually learning, and Gavi has acknowledged that, WHO has actually acknowledged our Full Immunization Initiative. And similarly, there should be a mechanism to pool resources as well. And due to financial crisis all over the country, all over the globe now, people are questioning about the sustainability, and now there should be a mechanism to help each other. And India is a vaccine manufacturing country. I think being a neighboring country should help Nepal in terms of vaccine as well. And there are other neighboring countries actually who procure or who manufacture the vaccine. And for the neighboring country, I think there should be some mechanism to provide vaccine in cheaper amount. And we have to engage communities. We have to work together to align together, and to ultimately we are working for the people, we are working for the community, and there should be some mechanism to reach hard to reach population, and to reach the migrant, to reach the refugee, and that is what government are doing in collaboration with WHO, in collaboration with the CERO as well.
From your experience and observations so far, what do you think the global community can do differently to meet the immunization targets of 2030?
Immunization 2030 is mostly focused on zero dose and under-immunized children. Their agenda is to reduce zero dose by 50% and under-immunized children by 50%. And they have to support in big catch-up campaign as well. They have to support with the vaccines. I think they can support with the programs which Nepal has already started. For example, fully immunization declaration. And we also celebrate Baisak month, the month of April, as a immunization month, while while the globe will celebrate the week of April, one of the week of April, as an immunization week. All the country has to work for the zero dose and under-immunized population. All countries should receive some support from the global agency as well, from Gavi and from WHO and UNICEF, by supplying vaccines, which the country or the children are most likely missing the dose. For example, measles, rubella, which is the last dose, and people in Nepal most likely miss the last dose of routine immunization schedule. So the country or the global partners should focus or should support the country with those vaccines.
Dr. Gautam, thank you so much for your time here on NTV World Insight.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Well, we can conclude from today's discussion that immunization is not just about vaccines. It's about equity, trust, community engagement, and global cooperation. Nepal's progress shows that even with limited resources, strong political commitment and community-driven approaches can deliver extraordinary results. As the world works toward leaving no child behind, Nepal's experience adds meaningful perspective to global immunization discussions. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Insight. Until next time.
Everest, I would say, is high, but it's easier to climb than Makalu. Makalu is a little bit technical. Kanchenjunga is very high. It's technical and it's isolated. Everest, you get internet on base camp all the time. Camp 2 is quite big. Camp 2, you get internet again. Now people even have internet on Camp 4. So I would say Everest is easier. It's higher, difficult for sure. But Makalu and Kanchenjunga are less climbed and they are definitely harder. And Kanchenjunga was very hard. They have different challenges, but I think K2 is definitely more technical, more harder. So K2 has different challenges, but both mountains have different challenges. If I have to compare the two, K2 is more. So I'm planning to climb Shishapangma in autumn because China sometimes doesn't give permits out. It's better to climb when the permits are being given. And I'm planning to climb Dhaulagiri next year in spring. I always take one Sherpa, and I climbed in Nepal mostly with Imagine Nepal, one peak with 7 summits. I always go with one Sherpa because I think it's safer. I mean, when I send mostly, I just keep going. I don't need anybody, but if any emergency happens, then it's better to have a guide with you and a local guide who knows the mountain. I'm strong enough. Sometimes I'm just going by myself. I do need oxygen, so they carry it. But I am a mother of 2 small girls, so I will not climb without the help of Sherpa. It's something usually mothers, like I haven't seen any young mothers on the mountain, so it's not easy to leave your young kids. Anything can happen. If you die, then who's going to look after the kids. But I have some sort of confidence. Maybe people will not agree, but I know I will come back down for my young girls. And usually people say, how can you leave your young girls behind? But when I'm on the mountain, I have a difficult moment. I think about my daughters, that my daughters need me, so I need to go back no matter what. So I put extra effort. I'm more focused just because I know I have 2 daughters home. So they've been my strength, not my weakness. I think collaboration is very important. Like you said, Pakistan and Nepal has most number of 8,000 meter peaks. We can learn a lot from Nepal when it comes to tourism because we are very behind. Your economy, you get in your GDP, most of the revenue comes from tourism, and we have beautiful mountains like Nepal, but we have very minimal revenue that comes from tourism. So we can learn definitely from Nepal, and the process is like everything. When we get to Nepal, when we get to base camp, to summit, back, and then out of the country, it's like I love the process in Nepal. We are very far behind, but we have tourism potential. So I think we can collaborate in that sense where we can learn from Nepal experience. I don't see many Nepalis in Pakistan, so I mean we should promote tourism of Nepalis also and Pakistanis coming also to each other's country. There's definitely room for improvement when it comes to collaboration between the 2 countries, and I know we love Nepali and Nepali also love us, so yeah, we need to make use of that. I think first time the process of coming in, because in Pakistan it was hard. Now it's improving. As soon as we come in, it was easy. People are really nice. I think most Nepali I met are nice, friendly. They know how to communicate. I think that was the best part, the friendliness of the Nepali people and the kindness. Hardship for me personally is being away from family. So Kanchenjunga, for example, I said is isolated. It's very far from connectivity. So not being able to speak to the family, for example, was the hard. I mean, nothing that I had no difficulty from Nepal itself or the people from Nepal, but just being away from family and emotional difficulty.
Experience has always been good. Nepali, if I say Nepali, I would say धेरै राम्रो छ. मलाई नेपालको टुरिज्म मेरो एक्सपिरियन्स धेरै मन पर्छ, खुसी लाग्छ नेपालमा. यस्तो घर जस्तो भएको. I've loved Nepal. This country has accepted me a lot, and it's a pleasure for me to be here always. If we talk about Nepal, I think it's more commercial, and I think the tourism in Nepal is like very fast in Pakistan, but now eventually in Pakistan it's growing as well. But if I compare Karakoram or Himalayas, Karakoram are more like steeper and more difficult, more technical to climb, and the specific region and the moving glaciers and everything that make them more difficult, especially the change of weather. So I believe that the Karakorams are more difficult to climb. I've seen a lot of Sherpas in Nepal, in Pakistan, who come to climb a lot of mountains. Mero sabai sathiharu Nepalko, every season they come to K2 and Nanga Parbat and Broad Peak to climb that mountain. And they are one of the elite climbers as well. So, you know, in Pakistan there is much respect to the Sherpas. In Pakistan is so good. Sherpaहरू sabai धेरै मन पर्छ पाकिस्तानमा. यो सो सेम घर जस्तो लाग्छ. मलाई त तीनवटा कन्ट्री त मन पर्छ. तिब्बतमा अलिकति गाह्रो छ, यसको पर्मिटको भिजाको अलिकति गाह्रो छ. अनि नेपालमा त इजी, पाकिस्तानमा इजी हो. मलाई त राम्रो लाग्छ. It's more like Nepal or Pakistan friendship expedition, something like that. And I think it's a great idea. It should be initiated. And we are up, me, Sarvaz, Naila, we are one of the Pakistani climbers, and yes, of course in Nepal there are a lot of climbers as well. So we can combine an expedition, we can launch it to Everest or K2, whatever it feels like.
I climb Nanga Parbat solo, also Broad Peaks. Then K2 I have one Pakistani climbing partner. Sherpa in last one day, just and Camp 4 to Camp 4, I use Sherpa. जिस कंपनी में मैं आया था उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं आप अकेले क्लाइंब कर सकते हैं लेकिन विंड बहुत ज़्यादा है, लेकिन आपको शेरपा लेके जाना पड़ेगा. फिर आखिरी दिन वो शेरपा साथ दिया तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो शेरपा के ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया, शेरपा ने भी. विंड भी बहुत ज़्यादा था तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह समिट हो गया उस वजह से. इस माउंटेन इज़ नॉट डिफरेंट. मुश्किल वो भी है, मुश्किल ये भी है. यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट बहुत आसान है, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है. यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उन लोगों ने काम किया है, इस वजह से यहाँ पे आसान है. अदरवाइज़ आप ख़ुद से जिस तरीके से हमने क्लाइंबिंग की यहाँ पे, ख़ुद से अगर क्लाइंबिंग करें, आप अपना जूता खुद पहने, अपने लिए पानी खुद बनाएं, अपने लिए रूट खुद बनाएं, ये बहुत आसान काम नहीं है. क्योंकि मैंने देखा है एवरेस्ट के अंदर, एवरेस्ट का कैंप 4 तक, बेस कैंप से कैंप 4 से समिट इतना ही डिस्टेंस बराबर है. तो डेथ जोन के अंदर आप 6-7 घंटा 12 घंटा आप रहते हैं, आसान नहीं है. तो हर पहाड़ का अपना एक खेल है. जैसा K2 है, K2 के ऊपर एवलांच वगैरह होते हैं, आइस फॉल होता है, रॉक गिरता है. यहाँ पे ये नहीं होता, लेकिन उसके बदले में फिर इसकी हाई बहुत ज़्यादा है, बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है और लंबा बहुत ज़्यादा है. तो इंसान है बहरहाल, वो क्या कहते हैं कि तकलीफ़ होती है हर जगह पे, हर पहाड़ का अपनी एक तकलीफ़ है. तो बहरहाल ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था. मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा यहाँ पे नेपाल में आके, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जिस तरीके से लोग काम करते हैं, इवन बेस कैंप से लेके टॉप तक जो लोग काम करते हैं, अगर इस तरीके से अगर हम कोशिश करें पाकिस्तान के अंदर, अगर हमारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल के जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके लिए इस तरीके से प्रोफेशनल तरीके से हम अगर खिदमत करें तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिज़म आ सकता है. क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे एक पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक चीज़ की कमी है कि प्रोफेशनल लोग बहुत कम हैं. यानी जैसा माउंटेन गाइड्स है ही नहीं कोई, मतलब सरबाज वगैरह जो अभी जो नए लड़का है, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अगर आने वाले 2-3 साल में ये एक आध होंगे. तो हमें इनिशियल स्टेज पे यहाँ पे किसी तरीके से हमें कोई ऐसा एक्सेस मिल जाए कि हमें कोई ट्रेनिंग्स मिल जाए. जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे लोग काम करते हैं, इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाकिस्तान में भी थोड़ा सा अवेयरनेस के साथ अगर हमें 1 साल की अगर ट्रेनिंग दे दे तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा तगड़े हैं. तो क्योंकि जो क्लाइंट जो है वो सर्टिफिकेशन देखता है, तो वो देखता है कि कितना ट्रेंड है और कितना मतलब इसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है. तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एक्सपीरियंस तो हम लोगों के पास भी बहुत है, लेकिन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होने की वजह से मतलब फॉरेनर जो है जो हमारे पर ट्रस्ट कम करता है. तो ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी नेपाल से जो शेरपाज हैं उनको लेके आते हैं और उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट किया जाता है, हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम किया जाता है.
I'm lucky when someone says you looks like a Sherpa, or you say that some or says you are like a Sherpa, you're like strong with Sherpa. I'm very happy because in this world, in this our climbing community, Sherpa is like brand. Yeah. So I'm very happy when someone says you looks like Sherpa, or you like Sherpa. Oh yeah, in 2021, in COVID time, he said, "Oh, Nepali or Pakistani passport." I said, "Oh, come on, man. I'm from Pakistan." So yeah, my look is like a Tibetan, and my mother from Skardu, and yeah, I climbed my first 8,000 Nanga Parbat with Sherpas. Or maybe Imaji is the first K2 winter summiter. And I'm lucky I climbed with Imaji my first 8,000. Yeah, even I start my climbing career with Sherpas. So till now, I think 90% of my 8,000ers are climbing career with Sherpas. So most of my climbs with Nepali Sherpas in Pakistan, Nepal, and in Tibet, China. Like Tikcha, like this, yeah. Yeah, I feel when I come to Nepal, I feel like my second home, to be honest. And all Sherpas, even 80% of Sherpas, they know me. They know me. And I have good relations with Sherpas. They respect. I think who are living in the mountains, almost same culture, same honesty, and yeah, little bit food is a little bit different, but yeah, I think who are living on the mountains, connect with nature, so both are the same, but so we need to extend our seasons, like autumn. We have good autumn and spring also, but we have no qualified climbers, guides, so we need work on this, and then yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, because when I start my climbing career in 2016-17, and I climbed my first 8,000er Nanga Parbat, that time I announced Mission Summit 14 without oxygen. But later on Annapurna, Kanchenjunga, and Everest, the last part, I feel the weather was very bad and strong winds. I use oxygen. So I repeat this year these three peaks, like K2 in last year, Annapurna and Kanchenjunga this season. So I'm very happy. This is the big, I think, in adventure tourism, like in climbing. You can say it's a FIFA World Cup, like when you are climbing without oxygen, without Sherpa. But we help. We need without Sherpa's help. You can say without Sherpa. So without oxygen, I complete my Mission Summit 14 and become first Pakistani. This is not for me or not my family. It's this record for whole Pakistan. So I'm feeling very proud. To be honest, after 8 years, I complete my big dream. I think this is sometime when I remember my all past and my climbing career, I feel very different because I came as a kitchen boy, as a porter. I worked as a kitchen boy 6-7 years when I was in college. So after 8 years, when I complete my Mission Summit 14, it looks like a dream. It looks like of course different experience because it's involved weather, it's terrain, But it's most difficult is of course Kanchenjunga and Annapurna here in Nepal, in Pakistan K2 and Nanga Parbat. So every peak have different terrain, different hardness, or its difficult level is. Manaslu is like I think easiest mountain in Mission Summit 14, like in Pakistan G2 and Manasri in Nepal is easiest. Yeah, sometimes it's like 2 years, 3 years ago, the BKO launch came and even our team, 3 Sherpas injured. Yeah, sometimes mountain is mountain. We can't fight against the nature sometimes happen. Every mountain is like a difficult level is different, but yeah, sometimes easy. You can say, yeah, this is easy, but it's like remember in Shishapama last year in 2023, big accident there, and Gina from US, Anna, and one of the Lama, one of the best climber in Nepal. We lost. Sometimes it's happened like this. Yeah. If you have manpower, Annapurna first. Between Camp 2 and Camp 3, you can't understand what happened. When you are climbing between Camp 2 and Camp 3, sometimes your breath level is like, I can't explain because I climbed 2 times, so I feel inside. So I climbed 3 times K2, but I think in Pakistan we have very strong climbers, but like trainings, even here in Nepal, I think 3-4 big like NNMGA, IFMGA, like this institute, but in Pakistan till now, single person we have not certified, IFMGA certified. But I think in Nepal, 80 plus IFMGA guides. So we need collaboration with Nepal or like Norway. So we need to establish some good institutes, schools, training schools. Then hopefully we have in future we improve in climbing and in tourism department. Nepal is like really they make good rules and regulations for tourists. What you need, is freedom. Everything is available. Yeah, every year more people, more climbers visiting Nepal, and more ability like IFMGA guides. More every year like 5-6. So this is a good sign for Nepal to boost adventure tourism in Nepal. In starting days, I faced very difficult because I have no sponsors. But Migmaji is like my brother. He helped me a lot, and yes, if I'm here this time in Nepal, and I into because of him, he's helped like his brother. And Alhamdulillah, I hard worker, and God give me a opportunity, and He give me success one by one, and now I am here. And after my 6th peak, I got first sponsors, local sponsor from Pakistan. Then till now I have because before 6th I visited 2 times in Nepal, once Manasu, once Lhotse. So that time Migmaji gave me an opportunity to come to Nepal and climb with my company, and I already 2 trainings from here, me and Abdul Joshi and Suhail from Pakistan. So in future, yes. But now I am getting old, so my plan is like this. I want to introduce IFMGA in Pakistan, the most important thing. We have no single one, IFMGA certified single one. So we need to establish some schools, some training centers. And I work with as a guide. It's different question. I think so. I don't like even too much branding, but I work as a ground level to establish one school and more people to involve in climbing, because we have potential. We have 5,000 or 6,000 and 7,000. Even in Pakistan, unclimbed peaks also. So I want to try to establish one good school and my some yes, I have some. I already start my book. So yeah, we are thinking about also a documentary, good documentary, not like maybe 20% little bit up and down, but 80% I want to try natural, not like fake. Good friend, my partner, Saad Munawar, he's just 3 days before he climbed from north side, Everest. He's the first Pakistani to climb from north side. From north side. So yeah, he's a nice writer also. So we together.
So from
you know, when humans are approached and interfere in the nature, yeah, there was. But we need to clean, because the you saw nowadays last 3-4 years climate change, like we don't understand what happened on whole. But we have big glaciers. The most affected areas, I think, in Nepal and Pakistan, because we have big glaciers like Siachen, Himalaya here, Siachen, Baltoro, Biafo. So we need to protect also our glaciers.
Pakistani climbers today here, and this is also a shared heritage of Pakistan and Nepal, that out of 14 8,000ers, 13 of us, 13 we share between us, and K2 in Everest, you can see on the plaque that is also on the right on my wall, that we share this heritage. And recently I also congratulate Nepal for holding Sagarmatha Samvad, which highlighted that ecology and the mountains' fragile ecology is not a given, and we need to do something to protect it. And in doing so, I think we celebrate our climbers, and we also celebrate those who are preserving it and the geography of the region. Climbers, some of them are here, they can also join them, and then they can have a joint expedition both to K2 and Everest.
Only after 6 decades of the institutional development of the now popular game of cricket did Nepal get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. Although cricket was introduced in Nepal during the Rana regime, the sport was confined to a limited number of people, namely the elite. It all started with equipment brought by students returning from their studies in Britain and India. Although Cricket Association of Nepal (CAN) was established in 1947, cricket remained centered among a few affluent individuals and in limited tournaments for a long time. Starting with the Bishnu Trophy in 1948, tournaments were limited to competitions like the Madan Memorial Sealed, Jugal Kishore Trophy, Rammani Trophy, and later the Jai Trophy. Even as the sport expanded outside Kathmandu Valley, it took decades for cricket to develop at the grassroots level. After the International Cricket Council (ICC) granted Nepal affiliate membership in 1988, Nepali cricket embarked on its international journey. The rule of mandatory participation in tournaments by the ICC and the Asian Cricket Council (ACC) opened doors to international competition for Nepal. After participating in the Under-19 Asian tournament in Hong Kong in 1996, Nepal has not looked back. Winning titles at the Asian and global levels, Nepali cricket team continues its journey towards the pinnacle of world cricket.
Goes down the ground because he was given that line outside off stump. So the first boundary of the contest, a handsome one.
Initially confined to Turikhel in Kathmandu, many international tournaments were hosted in Nepal after an international standard ground was built in Kirtipur. Nepal has also shown its proactiveness in differently abled cricket tournaments like the T20 World Cup for the blind in 2012 and the Asian Cricket Tournament for the deaf. Nepali women's national cricket team has also achieved remarkable success in a short period of time. The latest addition in Nepali cricket is the floodlit Tribhuvan University Cricket Stadium and the Nepal Premier League that has provided opportunity for Nepali players to rub shoulders with world-class players.
The Syrian government has announced a 4-day ceasefire with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces following rapid advances by government troops in the country's northeast. The Syrian army said the ceasefire began at 8 p.m. local time on Tuesday and includes a proposal for the SDF to nominate a candidate for Assistant Defense Minister in Damascus as part of efforts to integrate Kurdish forces into the state. The SDF confirmed it accepted the truce and pledged to refrain from military action unless attacked, though shortly after the ceasefire began, it accused government-aligned forces of heavy attacks on the village of Talbaraud and intense artillery fire on Sarkhan. Al-Laqtan prison north of Raqqa was also reportedly targeted with suicide drones and gunfire. The ceasefire follows days of rapid territorial gains for Damascus, representing the most significant shift in control since the rise of President Ahmad al-Sharaa. International observers say the truce is fragile and underline the potential for renewed clashes noting that civilian populations in the northeast Syria remain at risk amid ongoing tensions and contested governance. Humanitarian groups have urged both the sides to allow access to aid and protect civilians during the temporary halt in fighting. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has firmly stated that Denmark will not negotiate its sovereignty over Greenland, responding to potential US tariffs linked to the Arctic territory. Speaking in Parliament, Frederiksen said Denmark had never sought conflict but is now being challenged by its closest ally regarding Greenlandic self-determination and territorial integrity. She stressed that while Denmark is open to dialogue, sovereignty, borders, and democratic governance are non-negotiable. Frederiksen also warned that a trade dispute could damage jobs and economic ties on both sides of the Atlantic, urging preparation even as Denmark seeks to avoid escalation. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen criticized a social media post by US President Donald Trump implying control over Greenland, calling it disrespectful. Denmark plans to deploy up to 1,000 troops to Greenland this year, maintaining control over defense while Greenland exercises self-government in other areas. The United Nations has declared that the world has entered an era of global water bankruptcy, warning that freshwater systems are being pushed beyond recovery. A report from the UN University's Institute of Water, Environment and Health shows that humanity is using and polluting water faster than it can be naturally replenished, damaging aquifers, rivers, lakes, and glaciers. Director Kabehe Madani said nearly 3/4 of the global population live in water-insecure countries, with billions lacking safe drinking water or sanitation.
Declares that the world has entered the era of global water bankruptcy, calling for a fundamental shift in how the global community understands our most vital resource, water.
Agriculture consumes roughly 70% of fresh water, much from declining groundwater sources. Half of the world's major lakes are shrinking, wetlands are disappearing, and glaciers' critical natural reservoirs continue to melt. The report emphasizes that short-term responses are insufficient and calls for bankruptcy management, including protecting remaining water systems, restoring ecosystems where possible, and separating economic growth from increasing water consumption. Experts warn that climate change, population growth, and industrial pollution will intensify water stress, making coordinated global and local action critical to avoid irreversible impacts on human societies and natural ecosystems. In eastern Ukraine, kilometers of anti-drone netting have been installed along snow-covered roads to reduce aerial attacks amid winter conditions, with temperatures dropping to -16 degrees Celsius. The nets cover major supply routes and village roads up to 40 kilometers from the front line. Sections of the netting show damage with burned-out vehicles, indicating the growing use of drones in the conflict. Ukrainian forces say the nets aim to protect infrastructure and personnel from increasingly sophisticated drone operations while adapting to evolving battlefield tactics. Analysts note that such defensive measures highlight how technology is changing combat dynamics, with drones being used for reconnaissance, attacks, and supply monitoring. Civilians remain affected by restricted movement along frontline areas, and the winter weather adds further challenges to both military operations and humanitarian access. Venezuela has received its first $300 million from oil sales to the United States under a new energy agreement, according to interim President Delcy Rodriguez. The funds, routed through the central bank and domestic financial system, are intended to protect workers' purchasing power and stabilize the foreign exchange market. The sale comes despite long-standing U.S. sanctions on Venezuela's oil sector, which have restricted exports and limited market access. Officials say the inflow could relieve short-term economic pressures as the country continues to face high inflation and reduced oil production. The agreement is part of a broader framework allowing limited crude exports to the United States, signaling cautious cooperation amid ongoing political and economic transition. Hundreds of protesters marched through Boston to denounce President Donald Trump's immigration policies, marking 1 year since his return to the White House. Participants criticized enforcement actions, detention practices, and deportations, calling for reforms to immigration law. Marchers carried signs and chanted slogans as they moved through the city streets, demonstrating widespread domestic opposition to the administration's approach. Organizers emphasized that the event was peaceful but urgent, highlighting human rights concerns and the need for legislative changes to ensure protections for immigrant communities. Law enforcement said the demonstration proceeded without major incidents, though traffic was temporarily disrupted along the march route. China is rapidly expanding the use of humanoid robots across manufacturing and industrial sectors, boosting high-tech output and automation. Official figures show high-tech manufacturing now accounts for 17.1% of production from large industrial enterprises, with industrial robot production rising 28% year-on-year. In Beijing, robots are operating on factory floors, performing repetitive tasks with millimeter-level precision, and industry leaders report that the technology could soon be used in extreme environments. Analysts project global shipments of humanoid robots could reach 15,000 units by 2025, with China accounting for the majority. Government policies promoting AI-driven manufacturing are supporting growth, and experts say this trend may enhance productivity while also raising questions about workforce adaptation and reskilling. In central Japan, an inn in Takayama has created a seasonal sub-zero forest, transforming trees and slopes into dramatic ice formations. At an altitude of approximately 1,000 meters, water sprayed onto trees to create icicles resembling curtains and jellyfish. Visitors describe the display as extraordinary, providing a unique winter attraction. The inn's owner said the installation is intended to offer a memorable experience during harsh winter months and attract tourism to the region. Local authorities have highlighted the display as part of broader seasonal initiatives to support tourism and cultural engagement in winter while ensuring safety measures for visitors navigating the icy terrain. Russia's space agency Roscosmos has released images of the Northern Lights as seen from the International Space Station, captured by a Russian cosmonaut on January 20. The footage showed vivid auroras stretching across the Earth's atmosphere, illustrating the dynamic interaction between solar winds and the planet's magnetic field. Roscosmos said the images provide scientific as well as visual insights into auroral activity and will support ongoing research on space weather. Fota, a scenic coastal town about 69 kilometers northwest of Izmir city center on Turkey's Aegean coast, is hosting the second leg of the Tekno 293 Turkey Sailing League Championship, attracting 98 young athletes from across the country. Races were held under 13 category, with competitors harnessing the strong Aegean winds as they battle for top positions on the sparkling waters. The final ranking will help determine the lineup for Turkey's national sailing team. The event also has brought an economic boost to Foça, with local businesses and tourism benefiting from the influx of participants, families and spectators. Organizers say the championship highlights the growing interest in sailing and windsurfing among Turkey's youth, while showcasing the town's picturesque coastline and ideal wind conditions in the northern Aegean region.
Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I am Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we pick the news of the week, unpack its political significance and examine how today's decision shape tomorrow's direction. This week, our focus is on the Nepali Congress, Nepal's oldest and largest democratic party, once again at the center of national attention amid leadership debates, reform pressures and questions about its future course. As the country is heading for House of Representatives election on March 5, the split has raised doubts within the people how Nepal's political dynamics will be shaped. Will it affect the election is a million-dollar question at the moment. This issue featured in most of bulletins this week on NTV World. Nepali Congress is one of the oldest and most influential political parties in Nepal's modern history. Established in 1947, it has been at the forefront of democratic movements that toppled autocratic regime, restored multi-party democracy and shaped constitutional governance. From the overthrowing of the Rana regime to its leading role in the 1990 and 2006 people's movements, the party has shaped Nepal's democratic identity and state-building efforts. Ideologically rooted in democratic socialism, Nepali Congress has led multiple governments, contributed to federal restructuring and driven key policy debates. Yet, its historical prominence has been accompanied by cycles of internal rivalry and factionalism, dynamics that continue to influence its present-day politics. Does the split ahead of March 5 election weaken Nepali Congress position? To discuss more on this issue, we spoke to sociologist and political analyst Pranav Kharel. As we are talking about the development in Nepali Congress, how do you see the split in the party?
I do not consider it split as yet because the matter is sub judice in the Supreme Court and the court will eventually decide. But however, I believe that there is a strong division within the party, which is a culmination of a long internal mess that the party has been for over several years now. So we are seeing a result of it. One of the reasons for this was the failure of the leadership, of then leadership, to give vitality to the internal life and internal democracy of the party.
Is it a formal split or will it eventually be a single party as claimed by the leaders even today?
Both sides, the Deoga faction and Gagan Thapa faction, they are playing their cards very close to their chest because the Gagan Thapa faction has made it clear that they are willing to accommodate the other faction. At the same time, the other faction, the Deoga faction, has also made it clear that they would like to mend fences because given the fact that we are at the doorsteps of the election scheduled for March 5th, the party leadership, I think there is some sanity prevailing on both sides of the leadership.
How do you view the rise of Gagan Thapa within the Congress?
Rise of Gagan Thapa is quite interesting because his rise has to be viewed in the development that the country went through last 20 years. He was he rose to prominence as a young student leader during the protest of 2006. And ever since then, he has championed the cause of the political agendas of the said movement, for example, republicanism, federalism, inclusion. And in order to do so, he has also been able to mobilize networks within the party and also outside. He's been a very smooth operator comes to stitching alliances. So we could see that in the 14th general election of the party, he had sided with one particular faction. Then in the 15th, he sided with another and then eventually became the Gensec. So he's also a very fresh face in the party, given the context where the Gen Z protest has been demanding change in the leadership. He's a fresh face and he's also shown his ability to communicate with the Gen Zs and the evolving political developments.
Mr. Kharel, has the party's internal conflict weakened its electoral position? Can we say so?
The party's internal structures have been in mess for a long period of time. And on this, I would also like to point fingers at the at both Gagan Thapa and Vishwaprakash Sharma, who were general secretaries for the past 3 years, and they were responsible for running the party structure. However, the then leader of the party, Sher Bahadur Deuba, is also to equally share the blame because they've not been able to vitalize the internal party structure. Secondly, Nepali Congress is an ideology-driven mass-based party, but given the fact that in several elections now, or in several political setups now, we have seen that the party has gone for example, pre-poll alliances with political parties that are ideologically opposed to it. So that created a lot of dissatisfaction among the party rank and file. And that was not sounding well for the party.
Thank you for your time and insights, Mr. Kharel. Only for the second time in its more than 80-year-long history, the country's most potent political force, the Nepali Congress, convened a special general convention. This unprecedented event arose from deep disagreements between party factions, particularly between long-standing leadership and younger reformist forces over leadership direction and internal democracy. The Special General Convention of Nepali Congress that kicked off in Kathmandu against the decision of the Work Execution Committee 2 weeks ago will enter the business end on Monday only. The Special General Convention, being held only for the second time in the 80-year-long history of the party, has backing of more than 54% General Convention representatives. Though the opening day only saw addresses from the party leaders who were univocal in demanding change in the leadership, the closed session scheduled for Monday will be crucial for the future of the party. Initiated by the two General Secretaries Gagan Thapa and Vishwaprakash Sharma, this Special General Convention has gradually got the backing from the leaders who were earlier guardians of the Inception side. Prominent leaders from Inception side including Binod Chaudhary, Dila Sangraula, Uday Samser Rana, Devendra Raj Karnel, Pushpa Bhushal, Gopal Man Shrestha, Arjun Narsingh Kesi and Prakash Man Singh were also seen in this special convention. Though the Inception side leaders have not appeared or commented on the Special General Convention, they were eagerly watching the developments at Prikuti Mandap. The Special General Convention comes at a politically sensitive time as parties prepare for upcoming elections. The establishment, led by party president Sher Bahadur Deuba, said that it would weaken the party ahead of the elections. Supporters of the convention, on the other hand, argue that it is fully grounded in the party statute and will further strengthen the party as per the spirit of the recent Gen Z movement. From early morning, party cadres and delegates organized rallies and processions from multiple locations across the Kathmandu Valley. While it remains uncertain whether it will immediately lead to leadership changes, the outcome is widely seen as a critical test for party unity and the balance of power between the reformist youth faction and the long-dominant establishment camp. Another major question at the moment lies on what will happen if Monday's closed session officially announces a split in the party. Will that be accepted by the Election Commission that has almost finalized the closest list of parties for proportional election? The legalities and beyond do not seem to be the concern at the moment for the special convention organizers, who, despite claiming that the party will remain intact, are pushing for the change in the leadership. The Special General Convention that was initially called for 2 days extended by 2 more days at the Prikuti Mandap of Kathmandu. For the then Inception side led by Sher Bahadur Deuba and the then Renegades championed by 2 General Secretaries, Gagan Thapa and Vishwaprakash Sharma, it was a strategy to buy time. Bhavana Kesi was on the convention venue to record the developments on that day.
As the closed session of Nepali Congress's Special General Convention has been extended, decisions on election process for leadership selection and other key issues are likely withheld until the two sides sit for negotiations. The second-rung leaders, including Shekhar Koirala and Shashank Koirala, tried to break the ice over the indifference shown by the Inception side over the majority-backed Special Convention on Monday. The developments following Party President Sher Bahadur Deuba's consultation with his loyalists and then the Koiralas led to summoning of the Central Committee meeting scheduled for Tuesday. They were earlier adamant to the calls of General Secretaries seem to be exercising some flexibility after seeing the sentiments of the majority of the General Convention members. The closed session, which was supposed to move ahead with the election process on Monday, has been extended to accommodate the inception side, according to the General Secretaries. In the session at Brikudi Mandap, 9 separate groups, including 7 based on the 7 provinces and 2 based on the Valley and the sister organizations, have been formed. Thapa's political proposal on contemporary issues outlined a vision to transform the party into a dynamic and advanced democratic force.
तर सिद्धान्तको राजनीति सबभन्दा महत्त्वपूर्ण कुरा हो भन्ने कुरा यो खण्डमा मैले चर्चा गरेको छु। सुशासन र भ्रष्टाचार नियन्त्रणका सन्दर्भमा यसको लामो व्याख्या छ, तपाईले अहिले पछि पढ्नु होला। त्यसपछि चुस्त सार्वजनिक सेवा प्रवाह यसका बारेमा कुराकानी गरेको छु। कार्यमूलक लोकतन्त्र र दलीय सुधार यसका बारेमा कुरा गरेको छु। संविधान संशोधनमा साझा धारणा, श्रद्धेय सुशील कोइरालाको नेतृत्वमा बनेको संविधान, यो संविधानमा हामीलाई गर्व पनि छ र यो संविधानको निरन्तर रूपमा अगाडि बढ्नुपर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो मान्यता पनि छ। अहिले केन्द्रीय कार्य समिति आफैले आयोजना गरेको भए के हुन्थ्यो, हामी यसलाई लेख्थ्यौं, यो लेखेर तयार गरिसकेपछि केन्द्रीय समितिमा लिएर जान्थ्यौं, केन्द्रीय समितिले यसलाई पारित गर्थ्यो, केन्द्रीय समितिले पारित गरिसकेपछि हामी महाधिवेशनमा लिएर आउँथ्यौं, महाधिवेशन फेरि सर्वोच्च निकाय केन्द्रीय समितिले लिएको कुरालाई पुरै खारेज गरेर तपाईहरुले नयाँ गर्न पनि सक्नुहुन्थ्यो। हामी त्यो बाटो यसपालि हिड्ने मौका पाएनौं, तर कुरा एउटै हो, अहिले यो प्रस्तावित हो। अब छलफल गरेर हलले यसलाई जे पारित गर्छ, यसमा केही कुरा थप्नु छ थप्छौं, हटाउनु छ हटाउँछौं, घटाउनु छ घटाउँछौं र त्यसपछि यो महाधिवेशनले पारित गरिसकेपछि यो पार्टीको दस्तावेज हुन्छ।
While Thapa and company insist that the Special General Convention incorporates the Gen Z sentiments, Dewa and his loyalists are still calling the move illegitimate. All eyes will be set for Tuesday's Central Committee meeting, where the General Secretaries will have the upper hand, while the inception side will have to listen and propose a win-win situation. Otherwise, as claimed by the Special Convention supporters, the constitutional gathering will not end until changing even the leadership.
Weeks before the upcoming parliamentary elections, Nepali Congress formally split into 2 factions. Following the Special General Convention, the Election Commission officially recognized the Gagan Thapa-led Nepali Congress as the legitimate party ahead of the scheduled polls. This decision followed a contested internal struggle over party statutes and convention. The case is now at the bench of the apex court of the country, and the row is likely to dominate the political discourse for another week.
From Gen Z voices to the streets to an open revolt inside the party, Nepali Congress has split once again. Generational frustration, delayed party reforms, and an establishment unwilling to listen have now turned into a full-scale power struggle between senior leaders and a younger generation of stalwarts. The crisis resulted in the most dreaded split of arguably the largest party in Nepali politics for the 3rd time in its 80-year-plus history. Party General Secretary Duo Gagan Thapa and Vishwa Prakash Sharma revolted, citing delays in holding the General Convention in time, and organized the Special General Convention, gaining majority with 56.12% attendance of General Convention delegates. For the party establishment, it was indiscipline, which followed suspension of general secretaries and deputy secretary. The result was due to the lack of acceptance of the senior generation in embracing the sentiments of change sweeping through the country after the Gen Z movement. Through the Special General Convention, the younger faction elected Gagan Thapa as party leader, with Pradeep Paudel and Gururaj Ghimire as general secretaries. Unnoticed, but the most remarkable was the role of Gagan Thapa's colleague Vishwa Prakash, who relinquished all posts but stood by his side for the sake of self-co-championed reform. This marks the 3rd major split in the Nepali Congress in its 80-year-long history, driven once again by internal power struggles. Both factions have now filed separate claims at the Election Commission. The dispute is expected to reach the Supreme Court, raising questions ahead of the March 5 elections. Beyond the legal battle, the split reflects a deeper generational shift within Nepal's oldest democratic party. A generation no longer willing to wait is now challenging how political party is exercised from within. The question now remains, will the party split affect the upcoming elections?
Before the Special General Convention, there were talks of the party heading to an imminent split. However, leaders of both the sides said they were effortful to avoid possible split. According to both the sides, even today, the party is one. But the Election Commission's legitimacy to the Special Convention side means the other side is outlawed now. Following Gagan Kumar Thapa's election as the president of the Nepali Congress at a special general convention, uncertainty over the March 5 election has deepened. Despite Thapa's claim of being the inception side now, the first meeting of the special general convention elected executive committee was held at a private banquet hall in Kupandol. The Sher Bahadur Dewal side, on the other hand, intensified legal consultations as the claim over the party flag and election symbol has reached the Election Commission. Raghav Gautam of the party's Central Information, Communication and Publicity Department said the conflict has been long-standing.
Nepali Congress has this special clause in their constitution, the clause 17.2, which guarantees the right of those delegates to ask for a special convention if they deem it necessary for the change in leadership or maybe the change in policies to basically the ask was to hold a special convention, but the party leadership, the existing party leadership, didn't think that it was necessary for them to even address that basic demand, and that led to this most unfortunate event in the entire political history of Nepal.
The battle has started now with one side claiming that they had convened the Special General Convention as per party statute, while the other remaining firm on the need of endorsing the Special General Convention from the Central Committee. Gagan Thapa and Vishwaprakash Sarma, who lacked majority in the Central Committee, opted to bypass the leadership in their attempt to revolt against the older generation. The dispute is expected to end up in the Supreme Court, raising concerns about its impact on the upcoming elections. Advocate Radheshyam Adhikari said the Election Commission would prioritize majority support if procedures were followed.
निर्वाचन आयोगले धेरै कुरा हेर्नु पर्ने छैन. विशेष अधिवेशन भयो कि भएन, यति कुराको निर्णय दिए पुग्छ. त्यो विशेष अधिवेशन भयो भन्ने लाग्दछ निर्वाचन आयोगलाई भनेदेखि त्यो चाहिँ अब संस्थापन पक्ष त्यो हुन्छ. अब यदि त्यो कुरा विशेष अधिवेशन भएकै छैन भन्ने निर्वाचन आयोगलाई लाग्छ भने त्यो अवस्थामा चाहिँ अर्कै कुरा हुन्छ. कांग्रेसको विधान भनेको निर्वाचन आयोगको पनि सहमतिले बनेको हुन्छ र त्यो विधानको धारा 17(2) ले विशेष अधिवेशन बोलाउनलाई योग्यता पुगेका महाधिवेशन प्रतिनिधिहरूले बोलाइसकेपछि र त्यो कुरा चाहिँ सम्पन्न भइसकेपछि त्यसले जे आउटकम ल्याएको छ त्यो आउटकमलाई चाहिँ निर्वाचन आयोगले मान्नुपर्छ.
Political analysts warn that the unresolved legal battle within Nepal's oldest democratic party could reshape electoral dynamics and alliances in the weeks ahead. Following this split, Nepali Congress today stands at the crossroads between its historic legacy and an uncertain future. Whether it can reconcile internal reform, leadership transition and public confidence will not only shape its own trajectory but also have profound implications for Nepal's broader political landscape. That's the perspective for this week. Thank you for watching NTV World. That's the perspective for this week. Thank you for watching NTV World. I am Sabika Shrestha. We'll see you next week.
It's early in the morning at the Three Hills village at the wildlife reserve area known as Burunge at Babati district in Manyara region. Mama Simba starts her new busy day with her daily responsibilities. This is a tradition which she carries day by day throughout the week from Monday to Friday. After preparing breakfast for the children, Mama Simba walks the children to school. The school is about half a kilometer from their home. The availability of the community living at this area has managed to create the cohabitation, interaction between wildlife and humans. Mdori Primary School is one of the schools that have benefited with various development projects of which are a product of tourism revenue at the Burunge area. Not only within the education sector, such as schools alone are benefiting from the tourism at the community, living within the wildlife reserve area at Burunge, but also health sector, of which both sectors cater social services. Mama Simba is one of the main beneficiaries of the tourism activities within the area and the sector as a whole by being provided with entrepreneurial skills, not only to her personally, but other women within her community. All these efforts have been delivered by the investors who had rented the touristic areas within the wildlife reserved area at Burunge, so as to make sure that the community within the area do benefit through the investment.
I've benefited a lot, I can say, through tourism as a whole. First, I've been able to get an entrepreneurial education, and this has helped me in business management. We are taught something called value chain. The value chain is where it starts and where it ends. So we have been able to get that education, and this has helped me a lot on the business side. I've learned how to do business, what communication skills to use, and when doing business, there is business competition, and how to survive business competition. For example, I'm doing this type of business and there's someone else doing the same business. How should I do it so that I can attract more customers and be different from others? I've been able to learn various methods to be able to do that. Burundi has investors such as Chemchem, Kibo, and many more investors in the wildlife area. I got most of the wildlife knowledge through them. That education has helped me in good governance studies. We have been taught that if you see an animal, you should not think of meat but value in terms of money. We have benefited through our handicrafted products, and we need to protect our forest, because if our forest is invaded and trees used for handmade products are cut down, we would not have other ways to make an income out of handmade products.
Investment of various business activities within Burunge area has helped out in charting ways for the employment market, especially to youth and local traditional groups in entertainment and creativity. Mama Simba is one of the group member and a leader of the traditional dance group and arts known as Chemchem. And this involves the Maasai and Wambungwe, who are the natives within the area. In order to make sure that the environment of the natural habitat and wildlife, that is flora and fauna, to spearhead sustainability to the community and the wildlife to the present and future generation, The Tanzania Wildlife Management Authority Tower have put much effort and emphasis in offering educational in environmental conservation in collaboration with the Wildlife Management Area WMA, the tourism sector stakeholders, together with the community around the area.
Jukumu lingine kama tawa ni pamoja na kutoa elimu.
We educate. This education is divided into 3 parts: conservation education, education on how to deal with wildlife animal, and we also cater for environmental education. In this community, we are successful by a larger percentage because we provide education in institutions like schools, but also in villages. If you look at this area, it has been taken care of in a larger percentage and is conducive for conservation, investment activities including phototourism and hunting tourism, of which leads to adding income from conservation activities. We can measure that income by the year 2022. They have managed to collect 2 billion shillings, so this is a profit that goes back to the villages in order to continue doing conservation activities including wildlife and environmental protection. But the most important thing we offer in these areas, we have said, is sustainable conservation. There is a positive impact that comes from conservation through investment in conservation areas, tourism activities, hence continuation on a larger scale in tourism activities, and we get a lot of tourists.
The Burunga community, in collaboration with Wildlife Management Area WMA, has been able to introduce wildlife and human protection by providing employment to women within the community as game rangers. The game rangers do patrol within 24 hours so as to ensure the tight security, hence all illegal conduct within the managed and conserved area for wildlife is prevented, and at the same time, the wildlife animals do not invade the human area and destroy their crops and livestock.
Kazi hii imenipatia ufanisi mkubwa.
This work has given me tremendous success. I've been able to educate my child, build a house, and doing various social activities. I advise my fellow women to do this work, to love it, and to do it with confidence. We help the community in protecting of their properties. For example, we do patrol work, we protect the crops, and help people chasing away wild animals that destroy their properties. Secondly, we are protecting against poaching in this area of Burunga Wildlife Management. We are assisted by villagers in getting various information to prevent poaching. We do follow-ups on the information, and when we are satisfied with our investigation, we arrest the poachers and take them to the law enforcement agencies. I advise fellow women to love this work, appreciate it, and do it wholeheartedly.
Indeed, the Wildlife Game Reserve community at Burunga has been the best example for sustainable tourism and the best practice in environmental conservation, hence sustainable tourism, and at the same time empowering women. The participation and involvement of the community in environmental and wildlife conservation has been the game-changer spirit in ensuring the illegal conducts like poaching, wildlife trafficking, environmental and agricultural crop destruction is put to an end. The community at large has been able to benefit and access social welfare such as good schools, health centers, and economical boost through the tourism sector. Sustainable tourism for present and future generation. Our heritage, your heritage.
Music, dance, food, art and devotion are the lifeblood of Mewar culture, an ancient civilization rooted in the Kathmandu Valley of Nepal. With lively festivals nearly every fortnight, the Newars celebrate life through a rich tapestry of traditions known as Jatra, deeply intertwined with the rhythms of agriculture. This is a culture where every celebration is a living expression of heritage, community, and spiritual joy. Welcome to the ancient heart of the Kathmandu Valley, Chaba Hill. Here lies a sacred nexus of faith and tradition, Sri Chandravinayak Temple.
The wishes of the devotees, for instance, moving abroad, or the most important is to get rid of want and allergies. And if we lose something, then we offer a kisli, an ancient small bowl made of clay in which we put rice and a supari with a coin. It is believed we retrieve the lost thing and wounds or allergies.
This location is not just a place of worship, it is the stage for one of the region's most vibrant annual celebrations, Sri Chandravinayak and Sri Bhairavnath Jatra.
The beginning of the Jatra is always according to the Newari date, what we call Sakimana Puni. Puni means full moon. It starts from the time of Kartik Purnima, and for this we have to take the auspicious time for the Jatra. There is a place called Amalkot Kacheri. We go there about a week in advance to get the auspicious time. After they give us the auspicious time, then we start the management things.
This festival holds a significance at par with our grandest celebrations like Dasai and Tihar for the local residents of Chaba Hill. It's a time when the community unites and the entire area bursts into life.
Old-aged people are the contributors for the contribution of this Jatra festival. In early days, it was done during days, and the deities were kept in a basket from the sources. Now, we use chario because to local resident people like us, this festival is like Dasai and Tihar. Those are the greatest festival for Nepalis. Another reason is that a lot of people worship Lord Ganesh. The importance of the four Lord Ganesh is advertised. That is why there are lots of devotees visiting the temple. More than importance, it is the preservation of our culture and heritage that we are trying to do best.
The Jatra centers around two powerful deities, Lord Ganesh, known here as Chandravinayak, and the fierce protector Bhairavnath.
We also consider Chandra Vinayak Bhagwan as the first deity, right? The god who received blessings from Shiva Parvati are the parents. The first one who remember and worship when we humans worship is Sri Ganesh Bhagwan. All the Hindu Sanatan Dharma followers all over the world consider Ganesh Bhagwan as the first deity. Similarly, Chandra Vinayak, the name is different, but their feeling and over devotion towards them is the same. Similarly, Bhairavnath, who is located here in Chabel, Bhairavnath is considered to be a deity who originated here naturally even before Ganesh Bhagwan. Now we consider Bhairav as a form of Shiva, as a part of Shiva, right? In this way, we consider Chandra Binayak Bhagwan and Bhairavnath as the center of our faith. Another interesting aspect is this is also in the form of a legend. Our Chandra Binayak Bhagwan loves outsiders more than us locals. The reason for that is maybe because they come from so far away with so much hardship. God gives them more blessing. That's how we take it.
Historically, the architecture itself whispers tales of antiquity. The temple complex standing near the ancient Charumati Stupa showcases relics dating back to the literary period, as far back as the 5th to 6th centuries. While the main idol of Sri Chandra Binayak has seen renovations over centuries, notably during the Malla era, the site's spiritual lineage is deep-rooted.
हाम्रो यो गणेशलाई चाहिँ चन्द्र विनायक 4 गणेश मध्ये एक गणेश भगवान हो। एक गणेश जस्तै चन्द्र विनायक, सूर्य विनायक, जल विनायक, अशोक विनायक।
Sri Chandra Binayak is one of the most important lord in the 4 Binayak, Surya Binayak, Chandra Binayak, Jal Binayak and Ashok Binayak. This jatra was initiated during the Lichavi period as Ganesh Kumari and Lord Bhairav were way before this time frame is known. It is believed that Lord Bhairav is the protector and of the local residents of Sabel, and the prasad is said to cure diarrhea and cholera.
The unique feature of this celebration is the dual focus. While the pillar of Bhairavnath was historically renowned, the divine presence of Lord Ganesh is equally honored. The festival marks the time when the forces unite, celebrated through grand processions and rituals that honor the valley's layered history, blending Hindu and ancient Buddhist iconography.
Now we are busy with jobs and businesses. But the previous generation were all in agriculture, and this time, which falls in Kartik and Mangsir, is the time when it gets cold, or the time to harvest the crops, and the time to rest after being tired from harvesting the crops. So, on the first day of the Jatra, we offer the new crop, the various crops that have been harvested, such as wheat, soybeans, rice, lava, all these as halimali prasad to Ganesh Bhagwan. After offering that to God, then all our families relax, thinking that our agricultural work is done and we have a new feast. Thank the gods and have a palanquin procession and a feast. This is how we are moving forward in its main religious, social, all forms.
The main celebration commences on the full moon day of Hindu month Kartik, which typically falls in November.
The first day of the full moon of Kartik, we lit a sacred fire known as Dhuni. Second day is Ganesh Jatra here in the temple. On the third day, we take the chariot to Chuchepati and end the 4 days ceremony with Sindur Jatra.
The day begins with solemnity as a great sacred fire. The Dhuni is lit for the well-being of all people, a ritual known for devotees gathering together to warm themselves, believing it grants health benefits and religious merits. The climax is the Rath Yatra, the chariot procession. The chariots of Bhairavnath are elaborately decorated, and the image of Sri Chandra Binayak is also brought out for worship.
Playful chariot battle is done as Lord Ganesh is worshipped at first and the chariot of Lord Bhairav rams up the chariot of Sri Chandra Vinayak 3 times, believing this long ceremonial ritual. It is also believed that when the chariot strikes that place is protected from the divine. Previously, chariots were stopped in front of every house, but nowadays it is only stopped in most important places of Chabel due to urbanization.
We see traditional mock rituals, like a playful struggle where Ganesh attempts to enter the main sanctum depicting ancient mythology played out in the streets. The deities are later bathed in the ancient Ganga Hiti, a water source just north of the temple, a ritual that can last late into the night. The atmosphere is one of joyous devotion and playful energy.
The head priest is selected from Pasupati Development Trust, who are the employees themselves. They are given a specific special area for the formal event. Previously, they used come in barefoot, but now we have solved their problem with this new space. They use the traditional tantric ritual to worship the deities. After the tantric rituals done by the priests, the deities get a new form. It can be seen with the change of the ornaments, same like the day as Lord Ganesh is worshipped, especially on Tuesday. His form is more strong and divine, and the ornaments used in the jatras are special, not the one being used every day. Lord Ganesh is worshipped by the Sakya priests with their own rituals, and the Lord Bhairav is worshipped by the Vajracharya priests according to their own rites and rituals. Now, not many Sakya and Vajracharya priests are here in Nepal to forward this ancient ceremonial festival.
More than just religious rites, the Jatra is a powerful social binder. It is the time when relatives are invited as honored guests, transforming Chabel into a hub of reunion and festivity. The homes themselves become part of the decoration illuminated to celebrate the occasion.
We are teaching our kids the same what we did learn from our earlier generation, and we have already started to train them. Now, our daughter and sons do not attend college just to take part in this heavenly festival. They are interested in their culture and promoting it with full confidence. That's why we are trying to teach them everything what we learn to keep our tradition and culture alive. Every year a new face is introduced so that they participate with full confidence and happiness with equality. Whoever is devoted and interested, they are welcomed and given priority here.
Devotees strongly believe that participating in this Jatra guarantees the same spiritual blessings as worshipping the deities throughout the entire year. Consequently, the number of culture enthusiasts joins the thousands of pilgrims each year.
In this crowd, we are moving forward in our race of life. Mostly people go abroad for studies, earn money, but there are many friends like us who feel that our identity, the heritage of our country, the greatest assets of our country is our culture, which our ancestors have been handing over to us. This is our identity. If this identity is not preserved, then in the future neither our existence nor the existence of the nation of Nepal will remain. We are working hard, we are suffering, but we are devoted. God is helping us. That's why we don't have to go abroad. God is watching over us. We always have one thing, that our devotion to God is always awakened, and the work we do is also a devotion to God. And the main thing we do is for the good of all our Nepalese residents, for the good of the country. That's why we always work hard.
To manage this growing vibrant event, the locals have set up a coordination committee to ensure everything runs smoothly and joyfully.
Now this management, which we have formed as Sri Chandra Vinayak and Bhairabnath Jatra Coordination Committee. Actually, there are separate Guthi, Palas and religious Guthi that have been established earlier to conduct the Jatra. But this issue, gradually, as the youth migrate and a generation gets older, it's become difficult to operate. Not only for the Guthi Palas. Then, to play a coordinating role, we formed this committee. The coordination committee, it includes all the Ganesh Palas, Bhairav Palas and the Guthi that carries Chhatra. There is a Guthi called Kha Guthi. There are many such Guthi. We have included all of them and formed a working committee and started organizing this program in this way. It has been more than 10 years now.
After the coordination committee was established, we have operated with the process and the rituals of Jatra. After this Jatra ends, the Guyeswari Jatra is commenced with the Muktinath Baja Khala. It's been 6 years as we are getting funded by the Pasupati Development Trust.
This historic and ancient cultural heritage of Chaba Hill stands as a vital part of Nepal's identity. Preserving and revitalizing this tradition requires a collaborative commitment from the nation as a whole and from every Nepali, both at home and abroad.
It's been 6 years as we are getting funded by the Pasupati Development Trust, increasing the fund by 10% every year. As I have known, it is 70 to 80,000 rupees. From the municipality office, we are also funded 10 lakh Nepalese rupees. But as the governmental process takes time and the taxes are deducted, we get 8 lakh rupees in total for the festival. So we all residents of Chabel gather together and collect fund if the scarcity occurs. But we do not stop the festival.
Active participation and support are essential to safeguard and promote these cultural celebrations that uphold our national heritage.
Election Commission announced candidacy of Resham Chaudhary. Window to withdraw candidacies tomorrow as final list nears publication. Government extends deadline of Gen Z movement incident probe commission by 20 days, appoints Home Minister Arial as spokesperson. Customs of Nepal and India sign MOU to exchange pre-arrival information of goods, deal expected to make bilateral trade more secure. Zelensky accuses Europe of avoiding action on Ukraine after meeting Trump in Davos, adds documents aimed at ending war nearly ready. Bangladesh launches campaign for the elections being held first since 2024 prizing to elect 350 lawmakers on February 12. And Netherlands beat Nepal by 2 runs in thrilling T20 World Cup qualifiers clash. Men's cricket team also suffers defeat against Sri Lanka A. Hello there, I'm Smita Gising Thamang and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours. The news in detail. The Election Commission of Nepal has annulled the candidacy of Resham Chaudhary. Chaudhary had filed his nomination from Kailali Constituency No. 1, representing the Nagarik Unmukti Party. The Commission took the decision after investigating a complaint filed against Chaudhary's candidacy, concluding that his nomination was invalid. Complaints had earlier been lodged against the candidacies of 5 individuals. However, those complaints lodged against the HOR election candidates from Constituency 2 of Sunsari, Constituency 1 of Rohtahat and Constituency 2 of Bhaktapur lacked sufficient claims, according to Assistant Spokesperson of the Election Commission, Kul Bahadur GC. We'll look deeper on this in our Issue of the Day segment later in the bulletin. The government has extended by 20 days the deadline of the Investigation Commission probing damages during the September 8-9 Gen Z movement, Home Minister Om Prakash Arial said on Tuesday. The cabinet-formed panel led by former Judge Gauri Bahadur Karki was set to conclude its work on Tuesday but received a second extension as report preparation was still underway. The cabinet also approved a $2 million grant from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank for upgrading the Butwal-Pokhara road section. Arial was additionally appointed as the government spokesperson, with other decisions to be disclosed later. Nepal and India have signed a memorandum of understanding to exchange pre-arrival information on exported goods, officials said on Wednesday. The agreement aimed at trade facilitation and customs control was signed in New Delhi by Nepal's Customs Director General Shyam Prasad Bhandari and India's CBIC chairperson Vivek Chaturvedi. The MOU will enable both countries to share advanced export data to support risk management, speed up clearance and ensure secure cross-border trade. As India is Nepal's main trading partner, the pact institutionalizes the routine exchange of export-related information between their customs administrations. We will delve more later in our bulletin on our cover story segment. From international front, Ukraine's President Zelensky says Europe loves to discuss the future but avoids taking action today as he criticizes the lack of movement on a ceasefire with Russia. Speaking with Davos after an hour-long meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump, Zelensky says documents aimed at ending the war are nearly ready. Zelensky added delegations from the U.S., Ukraine and Russia will hold talks in the United Arab Emirates later this week. Earlier, Trump said a settlement on the Ukraine war is coming very soon as he joined other world leaders to inaugurate his Board of Peace. Bangladesh on Tuesday launched official campaigning for general election scheduled for February 12, the first since the 2024 uprising that ended the rule of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Tens of thousands of supporters of Bangladesh Nationalist Party frontrunner Tariq Rahman rallied in the northern city of Sylhet, while Islamist party Jamaat-e-Islami began its campaign in Dhaka. The vote, which will elect 350 lawmakers, is expected to usher in new leadership after months of political turmoil amid security concerns and warnings of widespread online disinformation. European Union election observers have described the polls as the biggest democratic process of 2026. The Netherlands edged Nepal by just 2 runs in a tight contest at the Women's T20 World Cup qualifier on Tuesday at Kirtipur's TU International Cricket Ground. Batting first, the Dutch posted 140 for 5 with captain Babette de lead, top scoring at 49, supported by Ster Callisus 30 and quick contributions from Iris Welling and Robin Rizke. Nepal's chase faltered early, losing 2 wickets within the first 5 overs, and they fell just short despite Rubina Chhetri taking 2 wickets. The defeat follows Nepal's opening loss to Thailand by 8 wickets in the tournament. Meanwhile, Nepal's men's cricket team suffered a second consecutive loss in warm-up matches ahead of the T20 World Cup, falling to Sri Lanka A by 73 runs on Tuesday at the Colombo Coles Cricket Club ground. Chasing 223, Nepal managed only 149 for 9 in 20 overs, with Karan Casey top scoring with 41, while top order batters Kushal Burthel and the Sheikh brothers failed to make an impact. For Sri Lanka A, Nuwan Thushara took 3 wickets supported by Charith Karunaratne and Madhe Hemant, while Nepal's bowling largely struggled except for Burthel, who took 2 wickets for 13 runs. Nepal had also lost the first warm-up match against the same side by 6 wickets. With over 3,400 candidates in the fray, Nepal gears up for the March 5 House of Representatives election. From youth voters shaping the race to AI-powered tools policing digital campaigns, the Election Commission is navigating uncharted terrain. Who's in, who's out, and how technology is transforming democracy. More on this in our issue of the day. You're watching NTV World News Hour. And now we're turning to our issue of the day. The Election Commission of Nepal is set to publish the list of candidates for the upcoming House of Representatives HOR election after completing investigations into complaints filed against some nominations. According to the election schedule, candidates are allowed to withdraw their nominations tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. The final list of candidates is scheduled to be published between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. tomorrow. Election symbols will be allocated on tomorrow itself. The House of Representatives election is scheduled to be held on March 5. Based on information received from the offices of 77 chief election officers and 88 election officers nationwide, a total of 3,487 candidacies have been registered. Of them, 3,089 are men, 396 are women, and 1 candidate is from the third gender category. As election fervor builds across Nepal ahead of the March 5 general polls, Kathmandu, usually the center of political activity, appears unusually subdued, with the absence of familiar political heavyweights leaving the city's streets noticeably quiet. Combined with a shift toward digital campaigning and growing voter frustration over political instability, the calm reflects a changing style of political engagement in the federal capital. Siksha Sharma with Sabina Prajat Chepang brings more on this.
As Nepal gears up for the general elections scheduled for March 5, the election atmosphere is intensifying nationwide. However, Nepal's federal capital, Kathmandu, appears unusually quiet this time. Usually a hub of political activities during elections, Kathmandu's streets and neighborhoods are noticeably calm. One of the main reasons cited is the decision by several influential leaders to change their constituencies and contest elections from districts outside the capital. Notably, Nepali Congress newly elected President Gagan Thapa, who has repeatedly won elections from Kathmandu in the past, had chosen to contest this time from Sarlahi 4 in Madhya province. Similarly, former Kathmandu Mayor Balindra Shah has decided to run from Jhapa 5, where he is set to face CP and EML chairperson KP Sharma Oli. As a result, Kathmandu voters have been deprived of familiar and popular political figures. This shift may have reduced public enthusiasm compared to previous elections.
अहिले चलपलहरु सबै चकमन्नै सुनसान जस्तो छ पहिला पहिला आउने घर घर दैलो कार्यक्रम गर्ने अहिले त्यो पनि बन्द छ सबै राजनीतिक यहाँ काठमाडौँको माहौल राम्रो छैन छैन बन्दै छैन नभए पसलमा हात जोडेर नमस्कार हजुर भन्दै आउँथे अहिले त छैन कोही आएको छैन
पहिले जस्तो पर्चा टाँस्ने गर्ने अनि यो जुलुस नारा जुलुसहरु गरेर प्रचार प्रसार गर्ने त्यो चाहिँ अहिले देख्न पाइएको छैन
धेरै चलपल छैन यता त छैन
कोही देख्दैन अहिले भोटहरु माग्न एउटा त चलपल पनि त्यति खासै छैन.
The decline of traditional campaigning methods such as rallies, loudspeaker announcements, and street processions has further contributed to the lack of visible election buzz. Instead, most candidates appear to be relying heavily on social media for outreach. Kathmandu's politically aware voters are also said to be frustrated by ongoing intra-party conflicts and frequent changes in government.
Several of Nepal's prominent political leaders are contesting this year's elections from constituencies outside the country's federal capital, Kathmandu, drawing a huge attention to these districts. Nepali Congress's President Gagan Kumar Thapa has announced his candidacy from Sarlahi constituency number 4, which has turned the district a focal point of political activity. This has heated up the election fervor across the entire Sarlahi district as well. Among Thapa's contender is former Nepali Congress leader Amresh Kumar Singh, contesting the election representing the Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Meanwhile, coordinator of Nepali Communist Party and former Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal registered his candidacy from Rukum East. Dahal, who reached there to lodge the candidacy, also has begun holding interactions with local voters in a bid to woo them. A total of 12 candidates, including Prachanda, have filed nominations from Rukum East. Except for NCP leader Dahal and Nepali Congress candidate Kusum Devi Thapa Magar, all other candidates are new faces. Despite being relatively small constituency of 34,772 voters, the district is believed to have a crucial political influence at the national level. Elsewhere in Gulmi constituency number 1, the election race is shaping up to be highly competitive. Alongside heavyweight leaders from established parties, young candidates from new parties have entered the fray, intensifying election activity. Candidates in this constituency include Chandra Bandari of Nepali Congress, Pradeep Kewali of CP and UML, Sudarshan Baral of Nepali Communist Party, and Sagar Dakal of the Rashtriya Swatantra Party. Election officer Krishna Prasad Paudel confirmed that a total of 21 candidates, including party-affiliated and independent contenders, have filed nominations. The upsurge of youth candidates as well as voters for March 5 House of Representatives election is no more a secret. The renewed enthusiasm of youths in democratic or the civic process in itself is laudable, but Nepal's Election Commission is equally wary about the misuse of digital tools, especially social media. The introduction of eMonitor Plus, an AI-powered monitoring platform that scans social media and internet sources in real time to identify content that violates election code of conduct, is making the election most techno-savvy in the history. Sabika Shrestha explains the digital monitoring preparations of Election Commission.
Youth engagement is likely to be a defining feature of this year's House of Representatives election in Nepal. Newly released data from the Election Commission shows a significant rise in youths filing candidacy this time.
According to age group, the 25 to 35 group candidates are 16.73%, 36 to 50 age group are 46.43%, 51 to 65 age group are 31.29%, whereas the candidates crossing 65 years of age are 5.77%. That's why very few people are contesting in the election crossing 65 years of age.
Political awareness among youths is also being reflected in voter registration, with more young people registering to vote as they become increasingly engaged in the civic processes. Digital and social media platforms have played a major role in this shift by enabling rapid, low-cost dissemination of election information and increasing political discussion among citizens. When it comes to youth, the use of digital tools also come alongside. Growing reliance on digital platforms also bring risks, including the rapid spread of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech ahead of the polls, which can distort public perception and influence election outcomes. To tackle these risks, the Commission is collaborating with UNDP, Nepal Army, Nepal Police, and cyber units. The Commission has introduced eMonitor Plus, an AI-powered monitoring platform that scans social media and internet sources in real time to identify content that may violate election code of conduct or spread harmful misinformation and disinformation. Cyber police units and district cyber cells will work with the system to take action against flagged content.
We have launching eMonitor Plus with the help of UNDP, and we have established EIDC, I mean Election Information Dissemination and Coordination Center here. Within this center, one unit is Information Integrity Promotion Unit. They are working rigorously to detect those type of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. When they detect them, those type of information, they will classify what is its implication. If it is harmful to community and it is based on hate speech and misinformation and disinformation, they forward it to regulatory agency for legal treatment.
The deployment of eMonitor Plus follows similar systems used in other countries to monitor digital campaign narratives and ensure compliance with electoral rules. Even youths are expecting that organized attempts to spread misinformation and disinformation targeting candidates and the election will be largely discouraged.
The voters or the general people also should be well caring about what they are actually publishing in their social media. They are sharing whatever they are getting the information or videos in there. So majorly those particular videos make the information very weak, and that will particularly help to manipulate the voters in this election. So the government, the governmental agencies, and basically the election commission should be active enough. An election commission should particularly make a separate mechanism to deal with how the misinformation and disinformation is creating chaos in the election.
Though Nepal still votes on ballot papers, the March 5 election for House of Representatives is certain to be most techno-savvy by far. Sapika Shrestha with camera person Samir Thapa reporting for NTV World.
In this context, we asked the public how should the government tackle the digital misinformation during the elections. Let's have a look at what they say.
Government can invest its resources on its citizens, like they can educate or aware their citizens about the tendency of misinformation, disinformation, strengthening their institution to address those kind of hate speech or misinformation, disinformation spreading towards certain community or certain people who are already in marginalized state. Improving algorithm systems, like government can request all the social media platform operators to improve their algorithm.
Making people educated about the concepts of AI, how they can get notified or how they can properly know whether any content is AI generated or not. This may lead to properly tackle such concepts.
But now what the government can do is make sure that any kind of news related with the election can come from the government portal itself, and make sure that all the people who are using the knowledge related with the election should comply with those portals, those news coming from the government channels itself.
यस्तो किसिमको चाहिँ सामाजिक सञ्जालमा अराजकता देखाएर अनि तपाईको सामाजिक सञ्जालमा चाहिँ यो भिडन्त जस्तै तपाईको अहिले झापामा निर्वाचनको संगारमा अस्ति हाम्रो नोमिनेसनको दिनमा भइरहेछ के कस्ता झडपका कुराहरू देख्यौं हामीले। यस्ता कुराहरूले चाहिँ निर्वाचन सफल पार्नमा चाहिँ एकदमै नकारात्मक भूमिका खेल्छन् र निर्वाचन असफल हुन सक्छ। तसर्थ यो मिसइन्फर्मेसन डिसइन्फर्मेसनलाई हाम्रो आयोगले कमिसनले अहिले एउटा सूचनाद्वारा पनि सबैलाई हामीलाई अनुरोध पनि गरेको छ। त्यो अनुरोधलाई हामीले मान्नुपर्छ।
It is very necessary that government release some bill or act or some rules to regulate this news that is expanding in our digital medium. In context of election commissions should be in the very front to look over such information.
अहिलेको सिनारियोमा त निर्वाचन आयोगले जुन हाम्रो नेपाल प्रहरीहरू छन् उहाँहरूसँग समन्वय गरेर साइबर सेलहरू हुन्छ नि त्योहरू मतलब गठन गरेर कसरी मतलब निर्वाचनलाई मिस इन्फर्मेसनबाट वञ्चित होस् मतलब त्यस्तो नफैलोस् निर्वाचनमा कुनै असर नपरोस् त्यो कुरामा ध्यान दिनुपर्छ र अर्को कुरा चाहिँ हामी जनताले आफै सचेत हुनुपर्छ
लिगल मेजर्स के छ त भन्दा हामीसँग इलेक्सन रिलेटेड एक्ट निर्वाचनसँग सम्बन्धित ऐन र निर्वाचनसँग सम्बन्धित निर्देशिका छ यी दुईटा ऐन र निर्देशिकाको कार्यान्वयन गर्नका लागि चाहिँ निर्वाचन आयोग जुन एउटा संवैधानिक निकाय हो त्यसले चाहिँ कार्यान्वयन गर्छ भनेर भन्छ
जबसम्म मानिस चाहिँ सचेत हुन्छ अथवा चेतना हुन्छ उसलाई गलत र सहीको त्यसपछि उसले आफ्नो व्यवहारमा त्यो लागू गर्यो भने चाहिँ त्यसबाट बच्न सक्छ कस्तो कस्तो क्राइटेरिया देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो एआई क्रिएटेड हो भन्ने खालको हुन्छ त्यसबारे चाहिँ सचेतना फैलाउनु पर्छ
And that brings us to the conclusion of our Issue of the Day segment. On to our next segment now. After months of turmoil and historic protests, Nepal stands at a crossroads. Who will lead the nation into a new era and what challenges lie ahead? Our special cover story dives deep into the elections set to reshape politics, power and the future of the country. You're watching NTV World and this is the News Hour. The MOU on cooperation in the exchange of pre-arrival information of exports of goods for trade facilitation and customs control agreement between Nepal and India signed on Wednesday aims at facilitating trade and strengthening customs control between the two countries. According to the provisions of the MOU, both sides will use advanced information for risk analysis to enhance customs control and trade facilitation. The agreement aims to reduce the time required for customs procedures while promoting safe and secure international trade. The agreement also provides for the designation of contact officers to support implementation. Initially, the arrangement will be applied on a pilot basis to mutually agreed categories of goods with the provision to extend it to all goods at a later stage. The Council of Ministers had endorsed the MOU and authorized the Director General of the Department of Customs to sign the document. The exchange of advanced export data between major trading partners is an established international practice intended to support risk management, reduce clearance time, and ensure secure cross-border trade, according to the department. To know more about the cooperation and the exchange of pre-arrival information of export of goods for trade facilitation and customs control signed between Nepal and India, we spoke earlier to Acting Director General at the Department of Customs, Manoj Nidhi Wagle.
माघ 7 गते भन्सार विभाग र सीबीआईसी इन्डियाको बीचमा एक समझदारी पत्रमा हस्ताक्षर भएको छ। यस समझदारी पत्र अनुसार एक अर्का देशले निकासी हुने मालवस्तुहरूको सन्दर्भमा निकासी हुनु पूर्व विद्युतीय माध्यमबाट सूचनाहरू आदान प्रदान गर्ने व्यवस्था भएको छ। यस्तो व्यवस्थाबाट निकासी हुने मालवस्तुहरू भनेको भारतबाट निकासी हुने भनेको नेपालमा आयात हुने मालवस्तुहरू भने नेपालबाट निकासी हुने भनेको भारतमा आयात हुने मालवस्तुहरू। यस्तो मालवस्तुहरूको सन्दर्भमा पूर्व सूचनाहरू विश्लेषण गरेर भन्सारसँग सम्बन्धित देखिएका विभिन्न जोखिमहरू विश्लेषण गर्न पर्याप्त समय मिल्दछ र जोखिमको आधारमा अपनाउनु पर्ने उपायहरू अपनाउन पनि पर्याप्त समय मिल्दछ।
Exports via the Birgunj border point along the Nepal-India frontier increased by 52% in the first 6 months of the current fiscal year compared to the same period last year. Goods and commodities worth 48.1 billion rupees, approximately $360 million, were exported during the review period, marking an increase of around $123 million from the corresponding period of the previous fiscal year. According to the Birganj Customs Office, major export items included processed soybean oil worth about $191 million, fruit juice worth around $26 million, and processed sunflower oil worth around $27 million. Meanwhile, the Mechi Customs Office reported a rise in imports of petroleum products. Information Officer and Customs Officer Ishwar Kumar Humagai says petroleum imports increased by 5.6% compared to the same period of the previous fiscal year 2024-25. And that wraps up our cover story. On to the remaining updates now. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki took stock of the progress of the memorials for the martyrs of the Gen Z movement at the under-construction Parliament building. The Prime Minister also held a meeting with ministers and senior officials of concerned agencies to discuss the placement of the memorials within the Parliament complex at Singha Darbar. Finance Minister Rameshwar Khanal, Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal, Water Supply Minister Dr. Madan Pariyar, Urban Development Minister Kumar Ingnam were present on the occasion. During the meeting, Urban Development Secretary Sigdel briefed participants on the identified sites and potential designs for the memorials, seeking guidance and directions. Prime Minister Karki instructed that the master plan for the Parliament building to be amended without delay to accommodate the memorials and directed that construction work proceed accordingly. In a unique blend of heritage and practice, the residents of Khairikot in Syangja district, central Nepal, have turned their backs on modern plastic tanks, choosing instead to restore and reuse traditional stone and cement water jars known locally as Khaito. This grassroots initiative is proving that even in the age of high-tech water lifting, traditional wisdom remains a powerful tool for resource management and economic efficiency. Subeksha Razak with our local correspondent Himal Newpani shed light on the initiative.
As modern lifting technology and pipeline-fed tap systems reach the most remote corners of Nepal, ancient water storage traditions are being almost forgotten. But in Harina's rural municipality of Syangja, the narrative is shifting. Instead of abandoning their heritage for plastic alternatives, residents of Khairikot have launched a campaign to revive and repurpose traditional water jars known as khaitos. This shift is not just about saving money, but also about building a sustainable future by reviving the past. For decades, the hamlet of 108 households in Khairikot has been facing a crippling water shortage. Survival depended entirely on harvesting rainwater stored meticulously in large earthen jars constructed by hand. However, with a tradition to federalism, the local government implemented lifting technology, bringing pipeline-supplied water directly to every doorstep. While the taps brought relief, they also made the traditional khaitos disappear. Many expected the village to shift toward modern plastic storage, but the community had other plans. Recognizing the durability and cooling properties of the traditional jars, they have begun a systematic effort to treat and repurpose them as primary storage units for their new water supply.
घरको टिनबाट आकाश पानी सङ्कलन गरेर खाइन्थ्यो अनि चाहिँ त्यसले नै खाने पानी नै अब नपुग भएपछि हामीले युज गरिन्थ्यो भने अहिले चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ यो प्रत्येक घरमा धारा छ यो लिफ्टिङ खाने पानीको पानी चाहिँ हामीले एक्स्ट्रा भएको यहाँ चाहिँ स्टोर गरेर राखिन्छ.
The Khairikot model offers a blueprint for other districts, a way to utilize existing social resources to bridge the infrastructure gap without the environmental and financial cost of new materials. The revival of Khaito in Syangja serves as a reminder that progress doesn't always require replacing the old with the new.
Time for international updates now, but before that, let's have a quick recap of the headlines. Election Commission announced candidacy of Resham Chaudhary. Window to withdraw candidacies tomorrow as final list nears publication. Government extends deadline of Gen Z Movement Incident Prop Commission by 20 days, appoints Home Minister Aryal as spokesperson. Customs of Nepal and India sign MOU to exchange pre-arrival information of goods, deal expected to make bilateral trade more secure. Zelensky accuses Europe of avoiding action on Ukraine after meeting Trump in Davos, as documents aimed at ending war nearly ready. Bangladesh launches campaign for the elections being held first since 2024 pricing to elect 350 lawmakers on February 12th. And Netherlands beats Nepal by 2 runs in thrilling T20 World Cup qualifiers clash. Men's cricket team also suffers defeat against Sri Lanka A. US President Donald Trump kicks off his new Board of Peace in Davos, Switzerland, with leaders and officials from 19 countries putting their names to the founding charter, including Trump allies from Argentina and Hungary. Trump said the body will work in conjunction with the United Nations, adding the UN has not used its potential.
Do other things. We can do numerous other things. Once this board is completely formed, we can do pretty much whatever we want to do, and we'll do it in conjunction with the United Nations. You know, I've always said the United Nations has got tremendous potential, has not used it, but this is important. This board has the chance to be one of the most consequential bodies ever created, and it's my enormous honor to serve as its chairman. I was very honored when they asked me to do it.
Japan has suspended operations at the world's largest nuclear power plant hours after its restart, its operator has said. An alarm sounded during reactor startup procedures at Kashiwazaki Kariwa in Tokyo, but the reactor remained stable, Tokyo Electric Power Company TEPCO spokesperson Takashi Kobayashi said. Reactor number 6 restarted on Wednesday, a day later than planned due to an alarm malfunction, the first of the plant to be turned on since the 2011 Fukushima disaster. Japan shut down all of its 54 reactors after a 9-magnitude earthquake triggered a meltdown at its Fukushima plant 15 years ago, causing one of the worst nuclear disasters in history. At the time, radiation leakage from the plant forced more than 150,000 people to evacuate their homes. Many have not returned despite assurances it is now safe. At least 2 people have died and several are feared buried after landslide in New Zealand's North Island. The deaths were reported at Welcome Bay while rescue workers are still searching through rubble at a different site in a popular campground on Mount Maunganui. There are no signs of life, authorities said, adding that they have a rough idea of how many people are missing but are waiting for an exact figure. They provided no other details except that the group includes at least 1 young girl. The landslides were triggered by heavy rains over the last few days, which led to flooding and power outages across the North Island. One minister said the East Coast resembled a war zone. The extinct volcano is a sacred Maori site and one of the most popular campgrounds in New Zealand, with a local holiday website describing it as a slice of paradise. However, it has been repeatedly hit by landslides in recent years. December to February are typically the sunnier months in New Zealand, but in recent years, heavy rains and storms have become more frequent. US astronaut Zena Cartman says NASA made all the right decisions after the 4 members of Crew 11 returned to Earth early from the International Space Station due to a medical issue that the space agency hasn't disclosed. Cartman, during a news conference at NASA's Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center in Houston, also said they're not going to identify the crew member or talking through the differential or any of the details of the medical situation.
Anniversary of continued human presence in space. It's been an incredible mission. And I will say is I'm deeply proud of the way that our crew came together and incredibly grateful for all of our mission control, flight control team, our crew on orbit, the team on the ground, our doctors, and the way that NASA and SpaceX came together in a way that minimized risk to the crew, to our spacecraft, and to the ongoing mission of the International Space Station as a whole. Thinking about the mission and your crew, and NASA made all the right decisions. In my opinion, this is a really excellent example of risk analysis and decision making, and I'm very proud of the decisions they made.
Time now for another interlude. Updates from business arena at the other side.
Global markets advanced after US President Donald Trump stepped back from the threatened tariffs on European allies linked to negotiations over Greenland, easing fears of a renewed trade conflict. South Korea's benchmark Kospi surged past the 5,000-point mark for the first time, while Japan's Nikkei rebounded strongly, snapping a 5-day losing streak. Investors were particularly active in technology and semiconductor stocks. U.S. stock futures also moved higher, led by gains in Nasdaq futures, as traders welcomed signs of reduced geopolitical risk. S&P 500 and Dow futures posted more moderate advances. Market analysts say the pullback on tariffs has restored short-term confidence, highlighting how sensitive global equities remain to trade policy signals from Washington. Ecuador has announced a 30% tariffs on import from neighboring Colombia, escalating regional trade tension in South America. President Daniel Noboa said the measure is intended to pressure Colombia into stronger cooperation against drug trafficking and organized crime along the shared border. The tariff is set to take effect on February 1st and applies across a broad range of goods. Noboa also cited Ecuador's significant trade deficit with Colombia as justification for the move. Despite the announcement, traffic and commerce continue to flow across the Ecuador-Colombia border. Colombian authorities have said they are reviewing the decision and have not ruled out a response. Economists warn the tariff could disrupt supply chains, increase cost for businesses and consumers, and strain diplomatic and economic relations between the two Andean neighbors. The European Parliament has voted to refer the newly signed EU-Mercosur trade agreement to the European Union's top court, delaying ratification and casting uncertainty over one of the world's largest proposed trade pacts. The agreement signed with the South American bloc Mercosur aimed to reduce tariffs and expand trade across agriculture, manufacturing and services. However, several EU member states and farming groups opposed the deal, citing concerns over competition, environmental standards, and regulatory compliance. The EU Court of Justice will now assess whether the agreement aligns with the EU treaties and legal frameworks. A ruling could take months, potentially delaying implementation. The decision highlights growing political resistance to large-scale trade agreements within Europe and could affect exporters and investors counting on expanded access to South American markets. French dairy giant Lactalis has announced a voluntary recall of 6 batches of its Picot infant formula after the possible presence of cerulide, a toxin that can cause vomiting and diarrhea. The affected products were sold to pharmacies and mass retailers in France and distributed to several international markets, including Australia, China, Spain, Mexico, and Greece. Lactalis said the issue was linked to an ingredient supplied by an external provider, but stressed that no illnesses have been reported and that all other batches are safe. Authorities have not confirmed any health claims linked to the recalled products. The move adds to mounting pressure on the infant nutrition industry. In recent weeks, Danone blocked shipments of its Dumex baby formula in Singapore, while Nestlé recalled certain batches of infant milk across parts of Europe following similar contamination concerns. The wave of recalls is raising regulatory scrutiny and could impact consumer confidence in the global infant formula market.
Now the sports update. Real Madrid remained the biggest earning club in the world football during the 2024-25 season, while Liverpool for the first time generated the most revenues in the Premier League according to an annual financial list published on Thursday. The Spanish club topped Deloitte's Football Money League with $1.36 billion of revenue despite on winning either La Liga or the Champions League. The only club to make more than $1 billion in the past 2 seasons, Real Madrid benefited in 2024-25 from a whopping 23% rise in commercial revenue driven by merchandise and corporate partners to €594 million, the Deloitte figures showed. Perennial rivals and reigning La Liga champions Barcelona were the second highest earners with €975 million back in the top 3 for the the first time in 5 years. Bundesliga champions Bayern Munich ranked third with 861 million euros ahead of Champions League winners Paris Saint-Germain on the 837 million euros. Italy has inaugurated a new World Anti-Doping Agency WADA-approved laboratory, ensuring enhanced testing capability just in time for the Milano-Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. The facility, equipped with state-of-the-art technology, will play a key role in safeguarding fair competition by detecting prohibited substances among athletes. Officials say the lab will significantly increase Italy's capacity for rapid and accurate anti-doping analysis, supporting both domestic athletes and international competitors participating in the Games. WADA approval confirms that the facility meets stringent global standards for testing and reporting, ensuring credibility and compliance with international anti-doping regulations. The opening comes as part of broader preparations for the Winter Olympics, emphasizing Italy's commitment to clean sport and athlete safety. Authorities have highlighted that the lab will not only serve the Olympics, but also strengthen anti-doping efforts across national sporting events in the years to come. This development underscores the growing emphasis on integrity in sports as host nations face increasing scrutiny to ensure that major international competitions are free from doping violations. Time now for the weather update, first from Nepal and then from across the world. We're almost at the end of the bulletin, but before we wrap up, let's have a look at the top stories that have made it to our headlines this hour. Election Commission annuls candidacy of Resham Chaudhary. Window to withdraw candidacies tomorrow as final list nears publication. Government extends deadline of Gen Z Movement Incident Prop Commission by 20 days. Appoints Home Minister Aryal as spokesperson. Customs of Nepal and India sign MOU to exchange pre-arrival information of goods. Deal expected to make bilateral trade more secure. World leaders join Trump signing Board of Peace Charter in Davos, says the board to work in conjunction with UN. Bangladesh launches campaign for the elections being held for the first since 2024 pricing to elect 350 lawmakers on February 12th. And Netherlands beats Nepal by 2 runs in thrilling T20 World Cup qualifiers clash. Men's cricket team also suffers defeat against Sri Lanka A. And that's it for this edition of NTV World News Hour. Do join us through our social media and get the latest updates from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Smithu Gising Tamang signing off for now. Thank you for staying with us. Good night.